Get the gang together after work and head to Government Street near the Jefferson intersection and enjoy happy hour at Government Taco. Every day from 3 to 6 and all day on Thursday, half off margaritas and half off draft beer. 5621 Government Street. In tacos we trust. Government Taco.
At Lewis Mechanical, no plumbing job's too big or too small, and we have the best technicians around. Lewis Mechanical specializes in both commercial and residential plumbing repairs.
Lewis Mechanical, keeping plumbing humming.
Insurance companies often discourage people from getting an attorney. If I can't get you more, even after our fee, then you owe us nothing, not even our costs. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12670. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning, everybody. It is 7 a.m. on Thursday, June 22nd. Today in Baton Rouge, expect cloudy skies with a high of 95. Coming up on OTB, presented by All-Star Toyota, Jimmy Ott joins the show from Omaha in the second hour. We talk to Wilson Alexander, the Advocate, at 8:30, and Chef Michael Johnson joins the show at 9 a.m. for a new edition of Munchies. You can follow today's show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OTB_ESPN, or catch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel and subscribe for daily content. Hour number 1 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
Let we go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Abar.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I gotta come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, and welcome into OTB here on a Thursday morning. Jake, Mario, and Taylor here with you, and the Tigers are still alive. They get it done 5-2, and we are going to cover it from every single angle. What a game it was last night, and the Tigers are not done yet. And man, I am excited for today's show because of that. We've got NBA draft. We get a chance to catch up with the Ott Father, which is always a pleasure. Of course, we've got Chef Michael Johnson for Munchies as well. And T-Bob is traveling, so that's always an adventure. I'm sure something will come of that as well. But as we start off every single morning with a little vibe check around the room, Mario, tonight probably a big night for you with the NBA draft.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a fun sports night here in late June, which I feel like is kind of rare. But I'll have LSU baseball on the big TV. We'll probably have the draft on the laptop. It should be a fun night tonight. It was a very fun night last night.
All right, Taylor, how you feeling?
Doing good. Mario's lying. He's going to have the NBA draft on the big TV. Let's call it like it is, which is fine. Look, it's a great day. I was not very confident in LSU yesterday, especially after the first 2 innings. You throw 3 pitchers in the first 2 innings, you dig yourself into a 2-0 hole, but you always needed a pitcher to step up, and you've had that every game. Griffin Herring was that guy yesterday. He was outstanding, did not give up any runs, and LSU came away with the victory.
Jay Johnson definitely got his steps in yesterday in the first couple of innings, and you're going out there, you're making pitching changes, and it's just like pitcher after pitcher, and you're wondering, was it going to be enough? And Taylor, just like you said, Griffin Herring came in, and he was the guy that you had to have. And we talked about it on Tuesday. You had to have guys step up and have performances that you weren't counting on them having. They had to kind of have, and I say out-of-body experience. It's not because they don't have that ability in them, but you've not asked them to do that this year, or really even in their career, because, one, you've got like some new players who are coming over from JUCO. You've got freshmen. That has not been their role on this team, but it is certainly their role now, and it's really what makes it so interesting. And before the show, we're taking a look back at 2017, because LSU, if they win against Wake Forest tonight, they're going to be in the same exact situation, even facing the same team in the championship series in the Florida Gators, right? You beat Florida State, you lose to Oregon State. Oregon State's the #1 overall seed. What do you have to do? Well, you got to go beat Florida State And then you've got to go beat Oregon State twice. Well, they did it against Tennessee. They beat Wake Forest yesterday, who's the number 1 seed again. They've got to go do it again. But I think what makes this one a little bit different is who you have pitching in this game. Okay, the game against Tennessee yesterday, or 2 days ago now, Nate Ackenhausen had to step up. He gives you 6 innings. He only gives up 4 hits, no runs, and strikes out 7. I mean, Nate Ackenhausen hadn't started a game all season long. So, Taylor, we're going to try to match these up to kind of talk about the performances and kind of the unexpected. And what makes this one, in my opinion, even more impressive if they do, in fact, get it done. In that first game, they get the victory against Florida State. They lose to Oregon State. But in that game, the elimination game against Florida State in 2017, Taylor, who'd they throw?
Yeah, they threw Jared Poche. He went 8 innings. He did give up 3 runs, 4 strikeouts, though. So he went 8 full innings.
It's a starter, though. Poche was a starter. I mean,
well, if you remember at the beginning of the year, he was your Friday guy,
Yeah.
and then you flipped him. And then Lang became your Friday guy.
yeah, I mean, Poche was somebody that started a long time in his career. So you had a bona fide weekend SEC starter. Now, who came in for him after that?
Look, I remembered him being good. I didn't realize Zach Hess was this good. He was nails in the postseason. He threw 1 inning, faced 3 batters, struck all 3 of them out.
All right, so you had a bona fide SEC weekend starter in Poche, and then you had a rock star closer, right? We all remember. I mean, we remember, and then, the next year you try to make him start. He was a closer. Like, that's who he was. He came in, and you knew exactly what you were getting. So we're talking about Poche, who had a bazillion starts under his belt, and then you come in with a closer. Well, in this one, Ackenhausen, again, hadn't started. He's been a reliever all season long, and then Riley Cooper comes in, and he shuts the door on Tennessee. All right, so we go to last night. You got Javen Coleman who comes out. In first inning, you're like, okay, this is good. This is what we needed. And then he gets into a lot of trouble. He has 4 walks in an inning and a third. Okay, well, it's like, oh, man. I don't know, 2 quick runs for Wake Forest. You don't really know where you're going to go from here. And then you bring in Blake Money, and, Blake inherited a ton of base runners. They get a hit up the middle. They score those runs. And then you go to Griffin Herring. And it's like, man, we're 3 pitchers in, and we just started this thing, okay? And then Griffin Herring gives you exactly what you needed, that superhuman out-of-body experience. He goes 4 2/3, only gives up 3 hits, strikes out 6, and was in complete command of that game, okay? So if we're matching these 2 games up, all right, Taylor, in the first game against Oregon State in 2017, the game you had to win to force another game, who'd you have in that one?
So the rematch game, like basically the Wake Forest game from last night.
Yes.
LSU won 3-1. Alex Lang went 7 1/3. Struck out 8, gave up 1 earned run.
All right.
So, I mean, that was your ace.
That was your ace. He's in the big leagues. Like, he's pitching at the back end for the Detroit Tigers, okay? We know who he is. I mean, he is Friday night, weekend SEC starter, and that's who you had available in that game. Right? You feel great about that matchup. It didn't matter who you were playing. It's Alex Lang, right? He's a dude out there on the mound, okay? Who closed that game?
You want to guess?
Zach Hess.
Zach Hess went an inning and 2/3, 4 strikeouts, and no hits, no runs.
So that's who you had in that game, okay? You had a Friday night SEC, all SEC type player. Again, a big leaguer now. Like, you didn't have that last night. And then you had the closer, Zach Hess, again, come in that game. But this team just continues to find a way, and a player finds a way to step up. And we'll talk about the bats, because it's not only the arms, but we're talking Poche and Lang against Nate Ackenhausen and Griffin Herring. And again, this is not to throw shade at these players. They just have not been asked to do this. I mean, Ackenhausen, reliever, first start of the year. Cooper comes in, he shuts the door, right? And those other ones, it was Zach Hess. Then you have a situation where a young player in Griffin Herring comes in. Not only does the moment not look too big, he looks like he wants all of it. He looked like he wanted every bit of that moment. The command, the poise, the swagger, whatever you want to call it, he had it on the mound. And then Gavin Guidry came in, and he gave you that same thing. Again, as a young player. This is somebody that was a shortstop in the fall, and then now he's pitching in the biggest moments of the season. And, T-Bob always says it, one snap and clear. Well, that's what he did. I mean, he threw one pitch in the College World Series. We all know where it ended up. It ended up in the left field stands. Well, he comes in. He gives you an inning in the third. He gives up 2 hits. He strikes out 2 and strikes out some damn good hitters, some of the best hitters in the country for Wake Forest. And then here comes our guy, the big body god, Riley Cooper, yet again to shut the door. So we bring this up to compare the situation. Now, you ended up having, Caleb Gilbert comes in, Taylor, and what did he give you in that third game?
Yeah, that was the that was LSU winning 6-1. That was the Papirski game, as I call it. He had a home run from each side of the plate, but yeah, Gilbert was great in that game. 7 1/3. He gave up 1 run, struck out 7.
And he was fantastic. I think that's the one performance, honestly, that we all remember. Again, because Poche and Lang, they did it for a long time. Like, we expected those guys. Now, it was big moments, but they did it so many times, that was not a shock. And Caleb Gilbert had been a starter. Like, he had started games. Look at what's happening right now, and it is one of the more impressive things that you will see. I mean, you're talking about expecting to go Johnny Holstaff. I mean, I thought 4 pitchers minimum in that game against Tennessee. You used 2. And then you come in last night, you use 5 pitchers, and really, I mean, Coleman and Money are barely in the game. You're talking about not even getting out of the second inning, and then here comes Herring, here comes Guidry, here comes Cooper. The grit that this team has shown in the last 2 games, and to beat a Tennessee team for a 4th time in a season, to beat the #1 team in Wake Forest that celebrated the first game like they had won the College World Series, and you sat there, you witnessed that. That meant something to the LSU Tigers, watching that and watching that celebration. And now you have an opportunity, and we're going to get to, who's going to pitch and who's LSU's going to have available and all of that. But now we all know what the opportunity is. But I do not want to get out of this first segment because the arms, it is the story. I mean, the arms, you didn't know who it was. You go back to 17. Yes, the run's similar, but you had 2 weekend SEC, like all SEC type pitchers ready to go in Poche and Lang, and you got the job done and you found a way. This was not that situation, which makes it so impressive, the fact that they were able to get to this point. But we got to talk about Cade Beloso. Cade Beloso, and we look, Trey Morgan as well, the job that Trey Morgan has done in Omaha. But again, like Trey Morgan, he had been on a heater coming into this. Not that Beloso hadn't, but just we know the Beloso story. We don't have to throw it back out here again. We all know it, but like, he is someone that is just like, whatever he has to do at this point, I'm going to do it. And he did it again last night. I mean, he has the big 3 RBI, 3-run home run. He walks twice. He scores 2 runs. He just gets on base, and he is just a guy that right now LSU can lean on. They can count on. It doesn't matter if it's lefty on lefty. Whatever the situation, you feel so good about Cade Beloso being up and having an opportunity, and LSU needs it. Let's not mistake this lineup for the lineup that we have seen kind of leading into this, right? When you look at what LSU had, they only had 6 hits. It scored 5 runs. They only had 6 hits. Like, you did not get a hit from Dylan Cruz, right? You got 2 hits from White and Morgan combined. You didn't get a hit from Dugas. You didn't get a hit from Thompson. You got 1 from Joe Bear. You didn't get a hit from Josh Pearson. And look, Alex Milazzo got 2 hits, right? He got 1 that didn't leave the infield, but it all counts the same. And then he fought his way back and got another hit late in the game. So he gave you 2 hits. You didn't have a ton of production at the top. Cade Beloso picked up everybody's slack, and he is, a big reason why you still have a game and an opportunity to play today against Wake Forest. And so you're always going to root for that guy. I mean, that guy is LSU as LSU can possibly be, and what a moment he had there in Omaha. One we're going to continue to talk about throughout the show. We've got sound from Jay Johnson. We've got sound from Cade Beloso, but wanted to start the show just kind of laying out the difference between 2017, the one that we all talk about, and how you got there and who you had available, compared to who you've had available in these 2 games, and now who you have available potentially for this matchup in game number 3, game 2. Last night gets done, so you have a game 3 against Wake Forest. Man, it's and so much and so many storylines that we're going to be able to talk about, and potential guys that we're going to see tonight. We'll continue this conversation when we come back here. It is OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, go to All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com. No matter what you're looking for, buying new, leasing, or renting, they are the place to go. That's the only place to go. So certainly if you're buying new, we say it all the time. I mean, look, everything's going to be available. That's the whole purpose of the car lot, right? That's the whole purpose of what they do. They're going to have everything they offer that's available there, but you can customize that as well. You can go in and you can build your own vehicle like T-Bob did with the Murdered Out Mini. But where you'll find them to be unique is when you're leasing and when you're renting. Everything is going to be available. Sometimes, like in the rentals, you get like 4 options tops. You get a sedan, you get maybe a midsize SUV, maybe you get a truck, maybe you get a van. That's not the case over at All-Star. Everything, multiple midsize SUVs, multiple sedans, right? Multiple trucks. Of course, they have the Sienna minivan, and you can check out those per day rental prices. All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look.
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We're recapping LSU Wake Forest from the College World Series. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Really proud of the pitching staff. Everybody contributed tonight. It was big of Javen to get out of the first inning with no runs. We didn't do him any favors offensively in the first, going down on 9 pitches and swinging at like 3 or 4 balls, which was a little out of character, so we made it tough on him in the second. Blake, after giving up the single, that was a big out right there with their best hitters coming up. And then obviously what a performance by Griffin to strike out Kurtz, to limit the damage there, and then really settled into the game and got us the length that we needed. And then Gavin came in and executed incredibly well, and then Riley finished off another one. So good performance, and we'll turn it over to tomorrow.
All right, welcome back into OTB. You can tell Jay did not like that first inning. I mean, I've heard him mention that at least 3 or 4 times, swinging at balls, 9 pitches, and that just feels like that's Jay Johnson. Like, we just won a game. We just used 5 pitchers, no starters. It was a bullpen day against a really good arm in Wake Forest, but that first inning still eats at him a little bit.
Yeah, and before we get to the baseball talk, I just want to say, like, the production, the camera work is great. Like, every time they show Jay Johnson after a big moment, he's grimacing or, trying to calm down. But the announcers are terrible, in my opinion. The announcers are freaking awful, man. And you know me, I don't know much about baseball. They seem knowledgeable, but they're just so dry. There's so many pauses. It seems like, what's his name, Kyle Peterson almost gets a little frustrated with Perez and the play-by-play guy. Like, that is not a good crew. They should have got somebody who, does more college baseball.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, Kyle Peterson's one of the best at it, and he's a college baseball guy. Now, I've seen him do big leagues, and he's great at that as well. But, like, he knows college baseball. He knows the names. He knows the storylines. He doesn't know just the storylines that you get on the one sheet about, hey, here's a cool story about this guy. Like, he actually knows these teams, and he knows the players. He's been covering them for 3 or 4 years, some of these guys in different spots. But, yeah, it's would y'all sound messed up? Like, the mics on, like, every time I've watched the mics, it's like almost like they just continue to cut out. I don't know if they're trying to bleep cuss words. It's been weird and not sound like whoever's mixing the sound, it's not sounding good.
That's probably what it is. They're probably trying to dump certain things because a lot is audible, to your point. So besides that, though, I think the production's good. Like, the camera work is good. You see the scenes, the fans, but the broadcasters, I just can't.
Now, I mean, that gives us a perfect opportunity. I don't know if it's been announced. It's 7:20 in the morning. Big Ben needs to be on the call some way, somehow tonight. Yes. And he might be already. I don't know that. I saw some people tag me and T-Bob last night talking about, making sure he gets on the call. Let's make sure if Paul Skenes is able to go and get Johnson 2 ready to play, because this is going to be an answer. But, like, if Paul Skenes is, in fact, the guy who goes, he's going to break Ben's record. And Ben needs to be on that call. Like, Ben wants to be on that call. He's come on this show and says he wants to be on that call. So we need to make sure and find a way to get him in that booth.
Just terrible awareness by the network if they don't put him on, in my opinion. He's a better analyst. He sounds better. And how can you not in that situation with Skenes about to break his record?
And here is Jay Johnson on Paul Skenes being available against Wake Forest tonight.
I think it's a day-by-day deal. We have a pretty thorough process that we go through with pitchers and their availability and testing and recovery and all of those types of things. So we still need to go through that tomorrow before we make any decision.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for anyone to keep Paul Skenes off that mound against Wake Forest tonight. And is there a situation where you can start maybe having some conversations about maybe what you do? Yes. But, like, if Louder's the guy for them, it has to be Skenes for you. And Paul Skenes and the physical freak that he is will be ready to go. Like, I don't think there's any question about it. He would be on normal MLB-type rest. And he is like an MLB pitcher already. We've heard it on every broadcast here late in the season. He could go be in a bullpen somewhere. I mean, I would be completely shocked. And I understand if you pitch him here, he's not going to be available. But if you don't win here, you're not going to be available because you're going to be eliminated potentially, and you might be back home in Baton Rouge. And so obviously it's going to be something that we're all paying attention to. I fully expect Paul Skenes to be the guy on the mound because Rhett Louder is going to be the guy that Wake Forest is going to throw out there. And he's been a top 3 pitcher all season long. And so if we get that matchup, that's the matchup that we've been waiting on all year long. Like, that is the matchup that everyone, like, no matter if we talk about baseball here on OTB, if I talk about it on off campus, every person that comes on, it's like, man, if we get LSU and we get Wake Forest with something on the line in the College World Series and it's Skenes versus Louder, like, sign me up for that. I need to be in Omaha. I'll pay whatever I got to pay for a ticket. That's been the matchup. So we'll certainly pay attention to that, but I would be surprised if it is anyone else. But I do want to go back. Again, we will look forward, and T-Bob's going to hop on here in a couple of minutes to kind of give us his thoughts. Got to imagine he's going to be a pretty excited fellow when we talk with him. But I do want to hear from Cade Beloso on his home run. It was the difference. It put the game to rest. Early in the game, but it did. I mean, there was no more scoring after that. And he just gave you exactly what you needed in that moment after you got down 2-0 and you knew who you had available on the mound. You didn't feel good, but Cade Beloso let the Tigers breathe and take a deep breath, and that was all you needed.
I was just trying to, hit a fly ball to center field, stay out of the double play. Once that pass ball, happened, kind of changed my mindset a little bit. But when you have as a coach as Coach Jay, especially with hitting, he's telling you to get the ball at your thigh, you better listen. So got a change up at my thigh and, put a good swing on it and just went over the fence.
So remember the situation, the first game against Wake Forest. I mean, Cade Beloso's up. Trey Morgan is on third base, and Cade Beloso hits it to the third baseman. Third baseman makes a hell of a play. Catcher makes an even better play. Trey gets tagged out. We all remember it, okay? Well, Cade Beloso doesn't hit the third base. I mean, Jay was shocked. And so if you'll remember last night, before this at bat, Jay, calls everyone over. They have a conversation. And that's what Cade Beloso's talking about. Like, Jay's like, hey, if you get it here, do this with it. Basically, let's don't hit it to third base again. That's not who you are. You're not that guy. You're a guy that's going to get the ball up in the air. You're going to hit it to probably the right side. But if you hit the center field, great. We need this run. Well, you get a hanging changeup. You get one that doesn't really do a whole lot sitting right there in the middle of the plate, and he does not miss. And I love the fact that he went up there. He went with the plan, knew exactly what he had to do. And look, it's not like he struck out in that situation in the first game against Wake Forest, but he had a job to do, and he didn't feel like he got that job done. Right? Hitting it to third base is not who he is. Hitting it on the ground, okay? So he's like, oh, I got to get the ball up in the air. I'd like to hit the center field. Well, he ends up hitting it into the right field bullpen, and it was the game changer. It was the moment that LSU had to have, and again, there was no more runs scored after that moment. So I want to play Cade Beloso 2 here because if you'll watch him, I mean, this guy just feels, and he's been like this his entire career, he just stays cool, calm, and collected in all of these situations. Nothing really bothers him. Like, it doesn't feel like the moment is ever too big. Like, you don't see him, he's not a big fidgeter if he's up there in that spot, messing with his bat and gloves and adjusting his helmet and kind of, rubbing his hands together and overthinking things. He just gets up there, gets into his stance, and he hits the baseball, man. I mean, they compared him to Matt Stairs on the broadcast. One of the few things I felt like they got right on the broadcast. And, that's who he is. Like, Matt Stairs was a professional hitter. Matt Stairs was never going to play in the field. That wasn't who he was. I mean, if you threw him out there to play first base, it's because somebody was hurt. But that's what Cade Beloso is, man. He just knows how to hit the baseball. And if you give him that opportunity in a big situation, 9 times out of 10, he's going to take advantage of it.
I mean, yeah, it just kind of puts things into perspective, and it's just like the whole concept, like behind like have to versus get to. Like, you don't have to come through in those moments. Like, you get to be in those moments, and that's the thing that kind of puts me at peace, especially like when the game's at its highest and stuff like that. And just in the on deck circle, trying to get yourself as calm as possible, especially when you kind of see the moments coming. But yeah, just trying to stay calm as possible.
And he certainly did that, and, man, one of those plays that we're going to talk about for a long time. And LSU baseball certainly has a handful of those plays, and you could have, if Hunt Palmer came in here today, he could roll off 10, and that one's going to be hard to get out of the top 10, at least for a long time. It will be for me. It's one of those ones I'm going to remember for a very, very long time, not only for what it was, but who it was who did it. And Cade Beloso, just ultimate LSU team guy, and has always been that way. All right, we are getting ready to take our next break. When we come back, I don't know where he's at. I don't know what the situation is, but we're going to hear from T-Bob Abar when we hop back here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Chicken biscuit on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
Cut through the static and listen to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge in high definition. Simply tune to 98.1 and select HD2.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Me, Jimmy Ott and Charles Andegriff live at lunch. It's live from Omaha at the Ameristar Sportsbook, brought to you by Supreme Rice. Thursday edition of Live at Lunch from Omaha, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Lord, thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back into OTB here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, and we have linked up with our guy. I wasn't sure after the Tennessee game. I thought he had a stroke a little bit. He was just really excited, holding in everything, and we think because either the kids were put to bed and he didn't want to wake them up, or he had so many words that he could not say in front of the children, bottled up inside of him, that's about the only thing he could do was to have that noise come out of his body, which we all appreciated. Of course, we're talking about our guy, T-Bob Abar. I think still at the beach. I see the greenery behind you. I thought you were coming home today.
I am coming home today. I'll be getting in about midnight tonight. Flight. I know it's weird. We're not leaving until like 5 days. So I'll be in tomorrow, bright and early, pumped up, because how could you not be pumped up? Because we are currently riding a wave of adrenaline that is unbelievable. I told you if you were scared the other day to get your ass to church and go pray. Sure enough, you did, because they went and they beat the hell out of the Tennessee Volunteers. And if you're talking about that noise after the game, that was one of those. I mean, the game was such that, especially on the heels of Wake Forest, right? Where you watched a 2-0 lead look like more and more unstable and then slowly slip away. The Tennessee game felt as if it had the potential to do the same. So the entire game was just a pucker game. I mean, you were just puckering the entire time. My grandpa always used to do that when you talk about getting nervous. And that was me the entire game. So at the end, last out secured, that was just one of those, like, you can finally breathe sort of moments. And yeah, there were kids sleeping and everything, which is why, it wasn't like loud, but that was just such a guttural, just like base instinct release of emotion. And then what can you say about last night? I mean, this is a team that proved and is proving why they were number one in the country for the majority of the season. And now you get Paul Skenes back, and who could be more excited about that? And I mean, not that any of this matters, but I don't know why it jumps out of my head. Skenes likely going to be the SEC record holder for strikeouts in a season after this year, after this game, which is great. I love to see his name go down in the history books, however it can. But look, I mean, it's like we said, when you're faced with elimination like this, the immediacy of death, all that matters is the next game. And all that matters today is knocking off Wake Forest and making it to the national championship. This is a scrappy-ass bunch right here. And, I mean, what more can you say about Cade Beloso? Dude, I mean, these are the sort of stories that these are sort of stories and narratives that make sports so interesting. The man who had every chance of giving up. Everybody when he hurt, I mean, me at least, I know many others with me, when you heard he was coming back, maybe kind of, oh man, that's cool, that's good. Maybe he can be like a good glue guy or something. No, the dude's an animal in the box. And in the age of Ozempic, when everybody's walking around getting skinny, the thick man remains king. Let's be painfully clear about that, okay? That this College World Series for LSU has been defined by thickness.
No question about it. I mean, it is a thick king summer here in Baton Rouge between Ackenhouse and Cooper and our guy Beloso. But T, the thing, and obviously, like, we all remember the 2017 run where they did kind of the same exact thing that they had the opportunity to do tonight. But I'll be honest with you, like, Caleb Gilbert was the guy that we all talk about. We remember his performance to get you to Florida. But this morning, we're kind of laying it out. Like in 2017, in the game that you had, like if you're matching it up, like your Tennessee game and then your Wake Forest game, so to get to where you're at today, in that first game, you had Poche to Zach Hess. And then the second game, you had Alex Lang to Zach Hess, right? So you still had SEC every weekend guys, like front-end starters. I mean, Alex Lang's a big leaguer. Zach Hess was a great closer. That's who you had to get to this point. This LSU team has had Ackenhausen to Cooper, and then you have 5 pitchers pitched last night. Griffin Herring had the best performance. It's not the same thing. I mean, you had your Friday and Saturday night starters ready to go, and then Gilbert gave you the performance. But even Gilbert was a starter at times and had moments. The way that this baseball team has gotten to this point, to me, is more impressive.
Yeah, it speaks to a lot of things. I'll tell you this, it makes me miss Wes Johnson, which is funny because a lot of
you're missing him before he's gone. We got some
Yeah, I
time.
know.
We got a couple more dates, hopefully.
No, I know, but I mean, when you see what he's done with this staff, with these freshmen especially, and you hear, like in the post game last night, you hear Grip and Herring talking about how just the sessions that Wes Johnson puts them through and how intentional they all are and how good it is. It just, look, you had a really good and like look, I trust in Jay Johnson fully and wholly. Yeah. I guess I just more want to acknowledge the job that Wes Johnson has done, getting this staff to peak at the exact right time. And then you got to talk about the players themselves. I mean, we all know about Ackenhausen. The way that Cooper suddenly refound his form and then some, and is now your Omaha God closer is something that nobody would have expected. Yeah. And then I cannot say enough about Gavin Guidry last night. I mean, that man had for his first experience in Omaha to come up one pitch and give up a 2-run home run, and then to be put in against the number one lineup in the entire country in a massive spot like it was last night, and to not be scared. But like we talked about, that is a man who embraces the stage, who loves the stage, and to go out there and just start cutting dudes down, just cleaving through guys and yelling at them while you're doing it, staring them down. It was something special. It was truly something special to watch, man. So and look, anytime you have a championship team, you have to get contributions from all over the place. And that's what you're getting with this LSU team right now. It's everybody's are there guys who are having better overall almost? Absolutely. Trey Morgan has been unreal, dude. I mean, he has been so consistent in the top of the lineup that's needed a bit of consistency, but everybody 1 through 9's had their moments. Everybody on the staff now has had their moments, and now you flip back to Paul Skeen, and everybody's playing with more confidence. So the only way to make a Final Four, to even challenge for a championship in the way that LSU has right now, is if everybody's on the same page, rowing in the same direction.
T-Bob, you've only given up 8 runs in 4 games, and we all thought, hands up, that if LSU was going to be successful, it was going to have to be the offense. Well, you've only given up 8 runs, and that's why you've been successful. Like, the offense still has some not only room to grow, but like they got some room to show up. I mean, you're getting performances from individual guys offensively, and you've been lucky to get that. I mean, it was Beloso. You mentioned Trey Morgan. It has certainly been him, and you've gotten, Cruz has had a game as well, but this offense hasn't all come together yet, which it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, at some point, like Jordan Thompson right now is 1 for 17. Pearson's struggling there at the back end as well. Joe Bear, obviously, he had the opening game, and he's had moments as well, but this offense hasn't even fully come together yet in the game, and it's really the reason why you are in this position and how you've gotten to this point this season being successful.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where a combination of good pitching in the ballpark. Right. I mean, for all the talk of, don't worry about home runs in the ballpark anymore. The ballpark.
People kept telling us that every time we'd have someone on, we'd bring it up, and they'd be like, that was like back in the day. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Well, it's back. I don't know about back in the day. It's back today.
Yes.
But look, you know what? That does cut both ways, right?
Yeah.
And LSU is also taking advantage of that. There's been a few warning track shots, some big ones that maybe would have been out that end up dying. So it's lame because it's not necessarily like maybe what you want out of your championship that's determining a college baseball national champion, simply because it's not really representative of the year that got everybody here, where like a record amount of home runs were hit. But it's like my old man used to say, dude, okay, you think it's hot out there? Well, guess what? It's hot for them too. Okay, like everybody's playing under the same rules in the same circumstances. So I don't care if you think it's unfair, if it's not where you used to, suck it up and find a way to win. And that's what this LSU team has done. And so, yes, the offense has struggled, but the pitching has taken advantage of the park. And And look, I'll be honest. With Skenes on the mound, I hope the wind's blowing in again, because Skenes is the guy. Skenes is the guy who, like, he just throws it so hard that every now and then someone gets lucky and makes contact. And in those smaller parks, it'll just tend to fly out because it has to, because of physics. At least here, Skenes won't be punished for someone getting lucky and just accidentally squaring one ball up.
Now, we played Jay Johnson's sound earlier about Skenes and if he was going to be available. And he's like, hey, we got a process, and we go through the same process, and we make that determination if a guy's going to be available. It's got to be.
LOL.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Paul Skenes. Like, I don't think there's a way, T, that you could keep Paul Skenes off the mound. Like, even if you said, no, you're not going tonight, I don't believe that you could keep him off the mound.
You could see the hunger and anticipation in him just throughout the last couple of days.
Yeah.
As LSU was against the ropes, and they're constantly kind of showing him, and he's just almost sort of this he was almost sort of like a looming specter, like an impending doom for the other team, but he just needed to get unlocked. He needed somebody to do the magic spell to summon him, and they managed to do it. And yeah, he's coming out of hell. And he's coming with a flamethrower, and he's coming to check. Oh, you think you're the demon deacons? We're going to find out who the real demon is tonight, and it's Paul Skenes.
It's the matchup that, T, every time that we would talk about Wake Forest during the season, we'd have somebody from D1 baseball on. They would always tell us, we got to get the Skenes louder somewhere in Omaha. Yeah. And you thought maybe you'd get it earlier, but it's even better that you get it now. Like, make no mistake about it, like, Rhett Lauder has been a top 3, top 5 pitcher all season long as well. But you've known Wake Forest is going to have the arms. And Rhett Lauder is great, but he's not Paul Skenes. Like, I still give the full advantage to LSU in this pitching matchup.
No, I mean, look, it's just pure baseball, which, my God, this is the most fun baseball to watch ever. Yeah. It is, it's what you want. It's incredible. I am already a little pre-salty about Florida, no matter who they play. Easy side of the bracket.
Oh, Roberts, unranked TCU.
I mean, what the hell are we talking about? Like, they're absolutely pathetic. There's just pathetic job. And I don't love, I still think how the College World Series, and I know it's a bit like, I know you can't really do it any other way, but I still think it's a bit crazy how you could be entering a 3-game series and, like, who knows the availability of your best guy. Like, it's just, it's I don't know. It too feels weirdly unrepresentative of kind of like what you had to do during the regular season to get you there versus what you're going to be asked to do to finish off this fight for a championship, whether you're Wake Forest or LSU. But whatever, dude, screw Florida. They can catch these hands too, okay? This team should have your full belief that if you want to count them dead, you want to say they don't have the pitch, you want to say whatever you want, that you better watch out because they have a nasty habit of proving people wrong.
I mean, the Florida Gators, your gator skin numbers that you have on the back of your jerseys, which looked awful yesterday. Yeah, I mean, Danny Warfel, Chris Doring, all of y'all, even my boy Chris Doring, one of my best friends in this world. You can catch these hands too. I think all of them. Everybody's on notice if we get there.
How about Florida just gets like 6,000 people at a baseball game?
Yeah.
If we get 6,000 people at a baseball game, then we might deem you worthy of a championship. Until then, we cannot grant you the rank of champion.
T-Bob, you look great. You look happy. You look refreshed. We are very now. I don't know if we get that in the morning after getting home at midnight, but we'll be glad to see you.
I can't wait to see you boys, dude. Tomorrow is going to be hopefully a celebration, but we'll see, man. We'll see tonight. Love you, boys. I'll see you in the morning.
All right, love you, brother. Safe travels. My man T-Bob, I mean, he just maxing and relaxing, sitting at the beach. Vibes looked fantastic, but I know he's ready to get some of these takes off and have some fun in the studio. He will be back with us tomorrow morning. We'll take our final break of hour number 1, wrap up hour number 1 when we come back here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, go to centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org. You're probably like, man, the volume of our phone calls has gone down a little bit. It's because T-Bob's out of town. He'll be back. Don't worry. You'll have the same situation when he gets back tomorrow. But now's the perfect time with T-Bob being out of town to call Central Plumbing. 225-925-8552 is that 24/7 emergency service number. But like we always tell you, it doesn't have to be an emergency. You can call that number and you can ask them about remodels. It can be at your home or your business. Like if you got home and you want to, maybe fix up your main bathroom, they can come in, quickly do that, give you an idea of what they can do for you. But when you go to the homepage, you'll see the fleet is ready to go. If you want to remodel your entire business, doesn't matter how big it is, they can handle that as well. That's why I've been doing it for so long here in this community. Also, tankless water heaters. We tell you about them every single day. Go tankless. Never run out of hot water. Again, they can come in, give you an idea about that as well, and install that for you. CentralPlumbing.org, 225-925-8552.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
Hey, it's on. Join me for the Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll chat with Joe Healy from up in Omaha. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back in, OTB. Adam said, Jake, you just said, I love you to T-Bob, and I believed it. Well, first off, he said it first, and I do love T-Bob. That's my guy. I mean, it's been one of my homies since 2007. He weaseled his way into the senior friend group as a freshman, right? So he's been in my life since 2007. And yeah, man, I love my guy T-Bob. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah. Do you love me and Taylor?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
All right, I'll take it.
Our relationship is growing legs.
I'll take it.
Taylor, very new here to OTB, but in a short period of time, I've really come to enjoy. Outside of his cowboy fandom, Taylor's been great.
That's understandable.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're growing legs, but I mean, 2007 is a long time. Like, it's okay to tell your fellas, hey, man, especially when they're traveling, you don't know.
That was.
I mean, maybe he gets on a submarine.
You
and we
make
don't
a
see
good
him
point,
again.
though.
I
Like,
don't know.
looking back, I was in 6th grade in 2007. Like, I may be friends with one person that I knew in 2007. So, like, that's a long time. I get it.
That's, oh, gosh. I don't like the way you said that now that I'm thinking about it. But
no, I mean, I was in middle school. So, it's
I mean,
a little bit different.
I truly keep up with one high school friend.
I do, too. And he was a groomsman in my wedding 3 months ago.
Yeah.
It's the only person.
Yeah, mine too, yeah.
I have like 4 or 5. Geez, I meant 4 or 5, not 4. I have like 4 or 5 high school friends that I'm still pretty good friends with. Don't see them as much as I did maybe a few years ago, but whenever I do see them, it's all love.
No, that's good because, I keep up with one, and I've been out of high school not even 10 years yet, and I still only keep up with one. So, yeah.
I mean, one guy. That's my guy. He's holding the streets down, keeping it safe down there in Houma. To my guy, he listens every morning too. Shout out to my guy, Big Wayne. Yeah, man. I didn't think that was weird. I mean, I tell Flynn that too.
Yeah.
And I tell Flynn a lot I don't like him.
Yeah.
So it just it depends.
I sometimes tell male friends I love them if it's if the moment is appropriate. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, we've got our guy Jimmy Ott, the Ott Father, is set to join us. He's he's in Omaha, but I would guess he's in Iowa because that's where the sports book and casino is at, and I bet he's there and not in Nebraska. But we'll find all of that out when we come back. Hour number 2 of OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, we've been telling you, and you don't need us to tell you because you go outside and you know it. It is hotter than hot. It is hotter than a tin roof outside right now. So what's the last thing that you want is for your air condition to break down and not be at its peak performance. So a couple of different things. One, actempbr.com is the website to go to schedule that appointment if you are having an issue, but also become a member of the Star Membership Club because if you are, they've already come out. They would have already come out before summer got started officially yesterday, and they would have checked on your equipment to make sure that, hey, this thing's great, or hey, you got about a month left before this thing breaks down. Let's go ahead and let's pay attention to the things that need to be paid attention to. They are going to make sure that you are comfortable over there at Actemp. That's why you see the ratings that you do. Look, the internet hates everything, but they love Actemp, actempbr.com, 225-351-1513.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special. Grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
turn my music high, 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 high. Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like
Good morning, everybody. It is 8 a.m. on Thursday, June 22nd. Today in Baton Rouge, expect cloudy skies with a high of 95. Coming up on OTB, Jimmy Ott joins the show up next from Omaha. We talk to Wilson Alexander, the Advocate, at 8:30. And Chef Michael Johnson joins the show at 9 a.m. for a new edition of Munchies. You can follow today's show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OTB_ESPN, or catch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel and subscribe for daily content. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
Let we go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Abar.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 of OTB here on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Mario said live from Omaha, Jimmy Ott, but I'm going to guess that it's live from Iowa, Jimmy Ott. The Ott Father joins us now. Otter, what's going on, brother?
Good morning, Jacob.
How we feeling? I mean, look, we got extended days. We didn't really know, was LSU going to go home a couple of days ago? I mean, you got the perfect storm brewing. Now LSU's winning these games, and you're going to see Paul Skenes back on the mound tonight. I mean, kind of give us a vibe check there in Iowa.
I mean, I think I said that on Matt's show yesterday. I thought that Skenes would, that's 4 days rest. I thought that he's got such a fluid delivery.
Mm-hmm.
I think it lends itself to MLB clubs as far as confidence and durability, and also your ability to bounce back. Charlie and I have compared him to like another phenom, like the kid from San Diego State that went to Pittsburgh. But where he had like that violent delivery, and so I think
Strasburg.
I think he's in Strasburg. So I think that he. I think he'll be fine. We know his mental makeup is just off the charts. I mean, he's special. The other thing is, Wake Forest is weak, man. That lineup has just not impressed me at all. I mean, it's Stanford let him off the hook. The low percentage play that the third baseman, give him credit, made in the first and third situation, nobody out in game 1 against Wake Forest. That bailed him out, but. This is a team that played, had unbelievable pitching and hitting statistics, historic numbers, actually. Mm-hmm. So what? Mason.
All right, we'll see if we can get the Ott Father back with us. I mean, to his point, when you look at Wake Forest, in the first game against LSU, they struggled with the fastball from Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd both. Now, when you start talking about Thatcher Hurd, remember, now, obviously his breaking ball has been great, but that's where they got those 2 big hits that they needed were on breaking balls. They have struggled with the fastball. Father, we got you back, but you were talking about Wake Forest and obviously like their offense maybe not living up to those numbers. They've had trouble catching up with LSU's fastball when you have like Ty Floyd hitting 95, Thatcher Hurd. The success that they had is when Thatcher Hurd tried to go to his breaking ball.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I mean, Floyd, no doubt. I mean, Floyd did have a little movement on his fastball too. I mean, Doug Thompson sat with us at Barrett's on Tuesday and he said that's the best stuff he's had all year. And we talk about this stage, man. It can bring out the best in you. It can kind of bring out the worst in you also. But I just think that their hitting numbers and their pitching numbers were, together in the same season were historic, Jacob. But the thing is, I mean, I'm watching Maryland and George Mason play in a regional, a 12-11 game. And I'm saying, well, maybe this might be, this Park-produced type of offensive numbers. And what we've seen so far, that's been the case. Now, we've been watching the win closely. Yesterday was kind of a left field, a right field corner type of a direction. But the unders are 10-2 so far. So, I mean, even with the electric baseball, even with 14 home runs hit out in the first 6 games, since that wind is blown in on Monday, it has made it much tougher to get the ball out. So I think only 2 home runs since the wind has shifted over here. So I'm just thinking that Wake Forest is tight, man. They are playing tight. LSU's got the momentum, and LSU has had to go much deeper in their pitching than Wake Forest. Wake Forest has deeper pitching, trusted pitching. But no, I think, and you have Skenes on the mound. It's going to be a tough assignment for Wake Forest today.
And we were talking about it, and you and Haney, I mean, y'all are LSU baseball historians, and y'all kind of know it backwards and forwards, but we were talking about 2017 and LSU being in the same situation and how you got there. Like, you had Poche to Hess, and then you had Lang to Hess in these games to get to the point where you're at right now. The fact that they had Ackenhausen go 6 innings, and then Riley Cooper come in and give you 3 in the first game, and then you've got what you had last night. You have Coleman for a little bit over an inning. Blake Money comes in for a bit, and then Griffin Herring really settles in. I mean, the last situation, you still had SEC weekend starters and some of the better ones that you've had in recent memory. The fact, Otter, that they've been able to do what they've been able to do with who they've had available. And again, it's not a talent thing. It's just not the situation that these players have had an opportunity. Like, Ackenhausen starts his first game, and it's in Omaha.
Jacob, I agree with all that, but I'll say one thing about the name you mentioned. You know this as well as anybody. It's not a draft contest, or it's not a star contest coming out of high school. Riley Cooper's a good college pitcher. Yeah. He's pitching his ass off right now. I mean, he is trusted. He's going against Oregon State. He's going against these guys. I mean, Tennessee, damn. All of a sudden, the time runs at the plate on Saturday night. Boom, he shuts it down. I mean, he is, and he's done it on this stage. I mean, he's a trusted arm, and he's their most elastic arm. He can bounce back well enough. But, yeah, you see that. And I'll flip one around, too, and that is 1993 when LSU, they beat Long Beach State. Long Beach State had an All-American named Daniel Choi, and he had the lead on us like 1-0 going into the 7th inning. We fought back. Larson hit a bomb over the old Rosenblatt scoreboard, and we escaped that one. Texas A&M, Laxton, we got roughed up. Walker hits a grand slam. We win that. And so we're in the catbird seat in our bracket. But here comes Long Beach State again. And, man, they stole one from us in the first game, their elimination game. Then all of a sudden we're playing one day before the championship series, and we're 3 outs away from going home. So they got some momentum, and they were very, very tough to deal with. So that team coming back, Alabama did it in 97 against Miami, when Miami had won the first 2, and they had all their rested pitching, and they fought their way back with their bats. So, and USC did it against us in 98. That was mostly when the wind shifted. So something about that team that we played one more game than them. We talk about coming out the losers bracket, and it's tough on a pitching thin team like LSU. But history has shown you'll get some momentum if you do get out of it.
One of the most surprising things is, we're talking about the pitchers. You've only given up 8 runs in 4 games, but you hadn't even really done it with an offensive explosion. Like, you haven't just scored a ton of runs, and that's why you're back in this situation. You've had some guys step up, and certainly Cade Beloso was that guy last night. Braden Joubert was that guy in the first game of the College World Series. But, in the totality of the lineup, you haven't had 4 guys really help you out in one game. So it's almost like with this lineup, what they've done all season long, you're still waiting on that as well.
Yes, no doubt. And that's been a little bit of a discouraging thing. This lineup is, I mean, it's loaded. And, with a guy like Dugas coming back and being healthy, that's really strong. The one thing that doesn't have is Stravinsky, and his pop. And so Beloso has made a difference behind the plate. The runs are at a premium. And, Johnson has made that, that mid-series adjustment. But it's been spotty. And Charlie and I talked about that too at times. That, minus the Oregon State clinching game, and that was when Oregon State, you were into their pitching and kind of they had very little left. Remember when Oregon State made the trip of their number 2 starter? They actually had code 1 starters, 1 and 1A. He was out for the year. He didn't even pitch in the Pac-12 tournament in Tucson. So they were thin coming in. And so when they had to play an extra game, their pitching was so – I think that was a little bit misleading. But right now it's capable lineup. They could put together, a 4 or 5 run inning. We saw that last night. So, but as far as, constant threats, it just hasn't been that way, man. And so, maybe with one day less rest for their starter, that might be the case, because he pitched out of some He pitched out of some jams against Stanford, especially in the early innings. But yeah, man, it is what it is right now. It's a capable. It's of having that explosive inning, but constant threats. That's just not happening up here right now.
All right, I've got to ask you, obviously, y'all been there for a couple of days now. There's a lot of purple, almost a week. There's purple and gold everywhere. Like, how are you taking in these games? Like, what has it been like watching these games? Like, are LSU fans just everywhere, maybe not even in the stadium watching the games, just there in Omaha?
Man, Charlie and I, that is a day-to-day decision, man. I mean, hey, you know what? We're taking the Jay Johnson method. We get off the air and say, what you want to do?
Yes.
I mean, we're in the press box one day. We're in the stands one day. We're at this brand-new sports bar, former Miami Heat star, and his brother, Mike Miller.
Oh, yeah.
They've got a awesome new sports bar adjacent to the Creighton basketball arena, called Let It Fly. There's Barrett's Barleycorn. So, I mean, and just our hotel here, the sports bar at Ameristar. So we'll decide that about 3 p.m. today, but I got a feeling we'll be in a stadium tonight.
Is the big fella up? Do we think the big fella's up right now? Like, is Handy up and moving around right now, or we still got some time before Handyman makes his first appearance?
Negative. Just really. No. Wind's blowing in on that one, Jacob.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Hey, man, y'all woke me up. So,
hey, that is surprising because, I mean, no matter what you do the night before, early bird always gets the worm with the Outfather.
Yeah, man. I'm rolling. So I rolled over about 20 minutes ago and saw you guys text. So all good, man. Let's get the day started. But if they've managed to win this one, and here comes the cavalry. I mean, there will be a pile of people. Keep in mind, this compressed schedule caught a lot of people off guard, including us. Doug Thompson sat with us yesterday. He says, I didn't realize if you're 1-1, you have to play the next day.
Yeah.
That's never happened. We talked about that earlier. They like it. They listen to the feedback from the people traveling up here, and was a big, that was the kind of a big gripe. Charlie talked about 4 days without a game, about 6-7 years ago. If you play the first day, that Friday, Sunday bracket, and you win 2 in a row, you could be sitting around for about 3 or 4 days. Florida has been that team this year. They played on the first day.
Yeah.
They've gone 2-0, and the max you're going to sit is 2 days. So they sat 2 days before they played yesterday, and then 2 days before the championship series starts on Saturday.
All right, Father, before we let you go, do y'all know what you've got coming up? I mean, look, it's early. You still got some time before the show. Y'all got anything you're going to hit on the show today?
I think Kendall Rogers. I mean, I really don't know, man. I mean, it's we got a lot of guests. We got day action in MLB, so no, we got some things going. We are from the Ameristar. I know that, Jake.
There we go.
I have to go down one flight of stairs to the sports book. So, but we've got plenty of guests, and we'll be crunching the numbers as always.
All right, and we look forward to it. The Oddfather and Haney in Omaha, like they're supposed to be. Jimmy, we appreciate it, man. We'll catch up with you again.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Jake.
All right, there he is, the Oddfather. Surprised we woke up the Oddfather. He is always like cup of coffee in the hand, sitting down in the lobby like before 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how he said the wind is blowing in on Haney being awake. Look, I did a lot of radio with my man Haney. On Mondays during football season, we went real early, and not surprised. Yeah. Not surprised. It's okay, though. It's okay. He'll be ready to go whenever it is showtime. All right, we will take a break. We've got Big Deal or No Big Deal coming up. We've got Wilson Alexander set to join us to talk LSU baseball and football. Of course, we've got Chef Michael Johnson set to join us at 9 o'clock as well. Stay locked in here. It is OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Get 3.99% financing at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas on select 2023 models. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Has gone line to line when it comes to home runs. Breaking pitch, he sees it. Look at the eyes open up. Doesn't try to pull it, stays back.
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
Get to him.
My windows, siding,
And it's
my
strong
door.
enough.
That's what's the matter.
Leaf Windows can fix all of that.
One,
I got
two.
you.
That one was long, and this one is shot to right field. That one is towards the wall.
Oh my gosh, look!
Third field.
The cognition.
That's a good-looking neighborhood.
Bat speed, his 8th grade coach said,
Windows,
that guy can play varsity for me right now. Leaves the yard. There it is. The extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. Because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans. 1-2.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right.
Stone invited to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We're recapping LSU Wake Forest in the College World Series. Join us 18th of the year, ESPN.
5-0 Tigers.
Well, we said earlier, if you're going to go deep in this ballpark, it has to be down the lines. And Dylan Cruz this year has gone line to line when it comes to home runs. Breaking pitch, he sees it, look at the eyes open up. Doesn't try to pull it, stays back. Lets the ball get to him.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 11:30 The Tiger.
That one is towards the wall. It's over.
Hey, welcome back in. OTB here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Going to have Wilson Alexander from the Advocate join us in about 10 minutes.
That guy can play varsity for me right now.
Football, looking forward to having him back onto the show. But before we get there, it's time for a little big deal or no big deal.
Big deal. Ain't no big deal.
Big deal. No big deal. Big deal. No big deal. No big deal.
No big deal.
All right, so last couple of weeks and months, and even going back to Calvin Ridley, like we have seen the NFL suspend players for gambling, sports gambling, and it can be on sports that are not the NFL if you're doing it in the team facility. And the NFL is kind of doubling down its efforts and going to have classes for all players, including all rookies will now be required to attend mandatory education sessions, and a group of league officials is making in-person visits to team facilities to emphasize and clarify what activities are prohibited and what you can do and cannot do when it comes to sports gambling. And I put this big deal or no big deal because you see the sponsorships all over the place in the official sports book of the NFL. You see the commercials. You see the involvement the NFL has. So when you see that and you're not betting on football. Like, if you're betting on football, you're betting on football. Like, okay, yeah, we have a real conversation. But now you have to go to more classes. All rookies are going to have education classes throughout the year on sports gambling. Big deal or no big deal?
I think it's no big deal. The players that did get caught doing this, I think, were unbelievably reckless, like Ja Morant levels of recklessness. It's going to be really hard to enforce, I feel like. Like, if somebody wants to bet on a sport, no matter what sport it is, can they not just go home, hey, cousin, brother, sister, mother, put this bet down for me, I'll pay you back, and they'll have no paper trail to catch me? Like, how do you enforce something like that when the players are not just reckless and dumb, like the ones on the Lions and other teams have been?
Yeah, and we've had these classes before now, not maybe throughout the season, but during training camp, in college and professional ranks, even like way before, obviously, it was legal in a lot of places. Like, we still had these meetings. I understand you can't do it betting that sport, but obviously you're going to have sports gambling. If a guy wants to throw some dollars on an NBA game, okay. And if you want it totally gone, then you need to give up the sponsorship dollars as well. Like, if you want it totally gone from your game, and if you want to bar it all together. So I don't really know that the education classes are going to do anything except just make rookies mad, the fact that they can't go home and they've got to go to an education class.
Yeah, I would probably say big deal. I mean, has the rule really changed for these athletes? They already weren't allowed to bet. This is only, us in Louisiana that got sports betting, other states that didn't allow it. The rules have always been the same. Just follow the rules. No big deal.
I would love to know the protocols for referees, too. Like, I don't hear anything about them having to do mandatory training, any strict rules against them. They have, they directly affect the outcome of the game. It would be nice if, like, the NFL said, yeah, referees, had the same rules, and they also had to attend these kind of classes, courses.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, we don't need a solution until a problem arises. And I agree with you, but maybe that's their thinking.
Here is the 6 key rules for the NFL. 1, obvious, don't bet on the NFL. 2, don't gamble at your team facility or while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel.
Lions.
So even if you're on a road trip and you're in a state that allows you to bet on an app, you cannot bet on that app while you're on a team trip. To your point, Mario. 3, don't have someone bet for you. 4, don't share team inside information. Yeah, come on. 5, don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season. Don't enter a sports book. So you can't even go into the sports book during an NFL season once it gets started. And number 6, don't play daily fantasy football. I'm pretty sure we couldn't play any fantasy football at all when I was in the league. Like, not even like a year-long, maybe even a free one. Like, I don't even think we could play any kind of fantasy football. So this one says don't play daily fantasy football. So maybe they have changed that rule as far as fantasy football. So, look, it's enough players where it is certainly something that needs to be paid attention to. But, I just don't know the education classes for rookies is really going to be the deal. If you're going to have education classes, you probably need to have them for everyone. It's not just rookies that are out there making the bets. All right, Mario, what you got?
All right, NBA draft tonight. Thought we'd talk a little bit of NBA. Pretty big trade last night. The Celtics are trading Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies as part of a 3-team trade. Boston is going to get Kristaps Porzingis, it looks like. The Grizzlies are also sending the number 25 pick in tonight's draft and a first-round pick next year to the Celtics for Marcus Smart. The Wizards are going to get Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari also going to D.C., and Mike Muscala from the Celtics. On the surface, I honestly don't really understand it from Boston's point of view. You're getting some picks here. Maybe they'll turn into, the next Tatum and Brown. That kind of trade usually works out well for them. But Marcus Smart's such a big part of what they do, especially defensively. And I think that's a great pickup for Memphis to directly replace Dillon Brooks pretty much. Kind of similar players. Smart isn't as good of a shooter, but he's an elite defender, and he's way more mature and, a better veteran presence. So I think it's a good trade for the Grizzlies. I don't really get it from Boston's point of view.
No, I like it for the Grizzlies. I'm with you there. I mean, Marcus Smart's somebody that has won NBA awards before for what he can do for your team. And as someone who watches the Knicks very closely, Porzingis is great when he's in there, but he's not in there a lot. And now you start to look at how his body has kind of failed him. I'm not sure what he can really give. So in my opinion, it's no big deal because I don't really think that he's going to have an impact on the Celtics, but it's a big deal that they gave up Marcus Smart thinking that he would be the missing piece for them.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, Porzingis is great when he's there. Maybe this is one of those things where they're thinking, hey, we didn't have a shooter outside of Tatum really in clutch. Marcus Smart's not known for his offensive game. Maybe they just wanted to get more offensive, but yeah, you're giving up a lot defensively. Don't like that pick. For me, I'll stick with the NBA. 3-time All-Star Chris Middleton declined his $40 million player option with the Milwaukee Bucks and will become a free agent. Big deal or no big deal?
Look, that's a big deal. $40 million. Now, Chris Middleton's a good player, but Chris Middleton is not a young basketball player, and you're turning down $40 million. I mean, he's 31 years old. He's not old, but I'm just saying, he is someone that Mario, I mean, you're more of an NBA head than any of us here. He's not in the peak of his career. I mean, he's probably on the other side of it, if anything, turning down $40 million.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I mean, maybe it's a situation where he had some kind of agreement with Milwaukee, take a pay cut, get better players, but I don't really get it. And he is a great player. Everybody that's a Bucks fan now says that Drew Holiday is the second best player, but he's been a big part of what they did. I mean, when they won the championship, he had a 40-point game in the finals. So that's significant. And the free agent class getting a little bit more interesting now with Chris Middleton. Draymond Green also declined his player option. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. That should make for some really fun podcasting. So, the draft and NBA free agency about to ramp up, man.
I think it's a big deal for Milwaukee because that roster's tailor-made to win a championship. They just won a couple years ago. Now you lose your number 2 scoring option. You have no clear path to replace him right now. You don't have a high pick in the NBA draft. The Bucks are in bad shape right now.
Mike Dunleavy Jr. going to be the Golden State Warriors GM, which makes me feel old. I mean, that was somebody that I think I'm the same age as Mike Dunleavy, I think. And, I mean, the first big move, Draymond decides, not to take that option, and he is going to be on the open market. And no matter how you feel about Draymond, He can join a team. I mean, he is a piece that can be the missing piece to what you're looking to do. I don't know where that ends up being, but, his best basketball might be behind him, but I certainly think he can add to your team. All right, it's going to do it for Big Deal or No Big Deal. We'll have some more NBA draft talk in hour number 3 with Mario, but when we come back, we're going to talk with Wilson Alexander, hit some LSU baseball, also LSU football as he covers the Tigers for The Advocate. We'll do it here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Me, Jimmy Ott and Charles Andegriff live at lunch. It's live from Omaha at the Ameristar Sportsbook, brought to you by Supreme Rice. Thursday edition of Live at Lunch from Omaha, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I need to spin my wheels. I got a hankering for 4 wide tires, and I can't help it. It's the way I'm wired. Boy, you get too close. Boy, you need to know. I got a heart like a truck. It's been drugged through the mud. Runs on dreams and gasoline. And that old highway holds a key. It's got a lead foot down when it's leaving. Lord knows it's taking a hell of a beating.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome
Not bad,
back
man.
in.
You're using T-Bob's mic, which is on the other side. So I'm
No,
used to...
it's plugged in. Oh,
Yeah,
that
but
is weird. Who did that?
I don't know. That's usually T-Bob's mic, but it's
Yeah.
just on your side today.
Wait, I don't even know where that thing is. That is okay, Mario. That is weird. It is hooked up over there. Maybe it's just we missed T-Bob so much that we just had his microphone plugged in. All right, let's go to the phone lines now. Wilson Alexander from The Advocate is joining us. Wilson, how you doing this morning? We appreciate your time.
I'm doing pretty well. Jacob, how are you?
Doing well. So, all right, correct me if I'm wrong. You're in Omaha, correct?
I am.
Still in Omaha. So, like, how long have you been there? Because, like, everybody we talk to, they've been there, like, it feels like weeks. Have you been there the entire time?
The entire time. Last Wednesday we got here. So we've gotten very comfortable and settled into Omaha. Knew it might be a long trip.
So how do you pack for a trip that you don't really know how long it's going to be? I mean, you know, LSU could have gone home a couple of days ago. Now they're thankfully not. But like, what's the packing situation?
Well, I guess everybody approaches it differently. For me, I sort of packed with kind of 1 week in mind, knowing then I could do like 1 week of stuff and then do laundry, and be able to wear it all again for the second week. Try to wearing like 2 pairs of pants, bunch of tops, that kind of thing, mix and match, and just find a way to sort of get through it.
All right. So what's the the purple and gold fan base look like there in Omaha? Because when I talk to people that have no ties to any school, I just keep getting messages like everywhere I look there's purple. I'm like, well, it's because TCU was too there. They're like, no, there's it's purple and gold. So what has it been like LSU fans there in Omaha since you've been there now for a week, Wilson?
Yeah, there was a lot more kind of over the weekend. And there actually has been times when you see purple, you think LSU, and there is some TCU that got, these sort of threw you off a little bit. But there's been, not to dismiss it, there's been like a lot of LSU fans. Certainly over the weekend, I think a lot of people came up for Saturday and then Monday's game, and then have left during the week. But if LSU wins tonight and is playing in that championship series, they're just going to flood the place, I would expect. And a lot of people that I had seen here over the weekend were saying they were going to be coming back up for a potential championship series. So not as many here the last couple of days, but certainly a lot when LSU played its first 2 games.
Now, Wilson, you wrote a great article about Cade Beloso, and we've talked about him really the first hour of the show and what he means to LSU. We all know his story, and he just wants to be an LSU Tiger, and he was going to do whatever he was asked to do this year. It didn't really matter what the role was going to be, but the role ended up being, I think, bigger than anybody could have imagined, and certainly here in the postseason, what he's been able to do in Omaha. And this is somebody that has a feel of a guy we'll always remember for what he not only meant to LSU, but what LSU meant to him as well.
Yeah, was such a great moment for Cade last night because he's the guy who, junior year 2021, he really slummed. He was batting like 226 with 3 homers. They reworked his swing, and he looks like he's going to be a big part of that team last year, and then has the ACL and the MCL tear at the same time, right before the season opener, and then comes back, postpones his wedding, and but he's more than just that. He's just a great baseball player. Like he's got a great swing. Dylan Cruz, who is the best position player in school history, I think, said that Cade has some of the best eyes that he's ever seen. And when he came up in that moment, he delivered. It was really fantastic for a guy who's a fifth-year senior who's been wanting to get to Omaha forever to be here, and he's really playing well. I mean, over the last 2 games in particular, he's got a couple hits, the big home run. He's been on base. He scored some runs. He's been an offensive catalyst there in the middle of the lineup, and that's been huge. So he's, guy from Louisiana who wanted to play at LSU, like you said, and he's coming up when LSU needs him to, and not just because he was, has this story that is so uplifting, but because he is just a really fine baseball player, and he's showing that here on the biggest stage.
Yeah, and this team is filled with guys from Louisiana that maybe were counted out. And Gavin Dugas, and we've seen what he can do. And we've seen Braden Joubert have his moment against Tennessee in that first game. It's been Beloso really all postseason long. And this team is just, it feels like, Wilson, just filled with guys, kind of like we talk about in football. We don't talk about it as much in baseball. Guys from Louisiana, they always wanted to be an LSU Tiger. They got the opportunity. It hasn't always gone right, but when you need them the most, they step up.
Yeah, I mean, look up and down the lineup, and you've got Trey Morgan. He's from New Orleans. You've got Gavin Dugas. He's from Homa. Braden's a Louisiana guy. Josh Pearson's a Louisiana guy. Cade Beloso's a Louisiana guy. And, I mean, there's so many more.
Travinsky or Malazzo, depending on who's catching.
Exactly. Yeah. Malazzo, yeah. No, absolutely. And so it's up and down the lineup with people who, as soon as every time you talk to them, about wanting to play for LSU, that was always the case for them. It was coming to camps when they were younger, or just watching these previous LSU teams in the College World Series. They all have sort of this era where they started watching the Tigers. Gavin Guidry talked about that, a few weeks ago, growing up in Lake Charles, how he was watching Kramer and Andrew Stevenson and Alex Bregman, and about a decade ago, as when he was a kid, wanting to come play in Omaha for the College World Series, and now they're doing that and representing their home state, and it definitely adds sort of another layer to what makes it also special, is that they've wanted to do this in an LSU uniform their whole lives, and now they are.
So, Wilson, being around the team, like you mentioned, you've been there since Wednesday, so you've been there a week, you've been around the team, you've kind of seen the emotions go up and down if they had a loss and then back up. But did they have a conversation? Like, did you hear anyone talking about the 2017 run that LSU made, like, within the team, considering, like, they were going to be in the same situation and they are one win away from being in the same exact situation playing against Florida in a championship series?
No, I haven't heard any of them talking about that. They're so focused as a team on everything being one game at a time. Maybe it's something that's in the back of someone's mind, but I think Jay Johnson has done a good job of getting this team to be very present in whatever moment that it's in, and not looking too far ahead, taking every game seriously. They really had to the last 2 days in particular, because if they had started thinking about, if we do this and this and this, and then we can get to the Florida game, then they probably wouldn't have won the last 2 games. You can't be thinking that far ahead when you're in an elimination situation 2 days in a row. And same thing today. They can't be thinking about, if we win this, then we get this rematch with Florida. It's also, with this team, there's a little bit of separation from that. None of these guys were on that team, of course, and it's been, because it had been 6 years now since LSU had come to the College World Series. For this group, it's very new and different. There's nobody who's on that team as a freshman who didn't play or something and has that heartbreak sort of still in them, because they didn't go through that. And so it's sort of this, you don't have that connectiveness to that 2017 team presently on the team. And so I think that that's not something that they are necessarily thinking about, because they didn't go through it.
Catching up with Wilson Alexander from The Advocate here on OTB. You're mentioning, looking forward. You can't look forward because obviously you got to be in the moment, because if you don't win, you're not going to get to the future, which is a series against Florida. So with that being said, do you, fully expect it to be Paul Skenes tonight? And I know Jay Johnson had his answer after the game about his availability, but it's got to be Paul Skenes tonight, right?
Certainly at some point during the game. I don't want to definitively say, Paul Skenes is pitching, because I don't know, or that Paul Skenes is starting, because I don't know. But Jay keeps that all very close to the vest. But it was I think also interesting that in that answer, he didn't just shut it down in any way, because Jay usually is rather closed off when he's talking about pitching in the postseason and who's going to start and who's going to pitch and who's available. And so that's certainly obviously something that they are going to be considering and that they have to, because, I mean, this bullpen has gotten really stretched out over the last couple of days. There's only a few guys who haven't pitched, and Paul's going to be on 4 days rest, which is kind of normal for the majors. 5 is the shortest amount of rest that he's pitched on this season. But same thing with him and Rhett Lauder. It looks like that situation, the Wake Forest star, is going to be that matchup is maybe the thing that everybody's wanted, is what's going to be coming down tonight. Like Jay Johnson said, there's the process, whatever that particularly means, that tonight and tomorrow to make sure that Paul is, I think, ready for it. But when you look at who LSU has available when guys were pitching, it seems like the first 2 guys that they would probably be able to turn to here are Paul and Thatcher Hurd.
Yeah.
And so, I would certainly expect to see Paul Skenes tonight for an extended period. It's just a matter of when.
All right, so Wilson, eventually you'll get home from Omaha, and when you do, whenever you do come back to Baton Rouge, obviously, like, you're going to turn your attention to LSU football. So, like, are you getting ready for that? Do you get all the preseason magazines ready to go? Kind of, what's the prep work for LSU football coming back for you when you get home?
Well, the first thing will be a little vacation time at the beach with my fiance. And then after that, getting right into football and SEC media days and everything. And there's some projects that we've kind of got in the works that have had to get put on the back burner throughout this postseason run. Picking back up with the SEC and all of its changes that it's going to be undergoing, and everything here with LSU football in year 2. And so just diving back into research and reporting and all of those things, but going to take a little time to relax before we gear it right back up.
Now, this is obviously subject to change, but Media Day is coming up in Nashville in about a month from now, so there might be something that happens before then. But if it doesn't, like, what do you think the main topic will be regarding LSU? Because, we go to Media Days, Wilson, and we always kind of have something, but what do you think, like, the big storylines will be for LSU?
There'll probably be a few things. First, I would imagine that LSU will bring Jaden Daniels, and so there will be a lot of discussion around the growth of the offense in his second year and his development over the offseason, and just, a lot of people who haven't met him wondering, who is this guy? Kind of like how it was Burrow's sort of introduction to the national media when he was there and before the 2019 season. That's probably what Jaden will go through, just because I have to imagine that LSU will bring its starting quarterback. So there'll be a lot of that. There'll be certainly a lot of, talking about Brian Kelly and the first year they had and LSU's expectations, and also that word expectation. There's going to be such a difference in sort of the tone around this, which this team has talked about at SEC Media Days from year 1 to year 2. Last year, Brian Kelly got sort of poked fun at with his accent and people wondering, why are you here? And there was a lot of that kind of discussion from reporters who just hadn't had the chance to talk to him yet. And so now it's going to be much more, I think, like maybe taking all that a little bit more seriously and realizing that this is a team that is certainly going to be in contention if everything goes right and if it meets the expectations that are around it. So LSU is probably going to come out of SEC Media Days as the favorite in the SEC West. With everything else that's going on in Alabama, all the changes that happened there, coming off an SEC West title already, and there was a returning production on the offensive side, and that's going to be very different from what they went through a year ago.
All right, there he is, Wilson Alexander. Wilson, we truly do appreciate you hopping on with us this morning. Enjoy the rest of your trip in Omaha. I hope you are there longer. I hope you packed enough clothes. I hope the Tigers play a couple of more games at least there, because it's been a lot of fun to watch it, and we've been following you on Twitter. You've done a great job covering this team. Great story again, Cade Beloso. Wilson wrote last night, and you check that out on The Advocate. Wilson, we appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jacob. Have a great day all day.
Absolutely. You as well, man. Oh, just like a different trip to go to Omaha. Like, and Hanny and I, they got it figured out, but like a week-long trip. And KB, Chris Budden, who joined us yesterday, like, she talks about it all the time. It's like 13 days for her, like, regardless, because she's there, obviously, not covering a team, just covering the actual event. And she's like, yeah, I mean, like we plan our vacation, like my family vacations in Omaha, just so I don't have to go 2 weeks without seeing my kids. And so it is a different trip, but I want it to continue to be a long trip for everyone covering LSU there in Omaha. All right, we will take our final break of hour number 2, wrap up hour number 2 of OTB when we come back on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My window.
Hey, it's Hunt. Join me for a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll chat with Joe Healy from up in Omaha. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back into OTB. Chef Michael Johnson joining us in 7 minutes from now. We still have NBA draft discussion with Mario coming up. Pelicans have, a lottery pick. It's farther down in the lottery unless something crazy happens. Mario, how we feel like we think a trade's coming?
Very unlikely. Not impossible, but very unlikely. I think they're going to work the phones until, it's time, and we'll see what happens. I'm not ruling anything out, but if I had to guess, I think they will not make a trade.
And the only trade that they would make, and I'm asking you this, like not, rhetorical here, would be for Scoot Henderson. Not Scott Henderson if you're watching the College World Series, but Scoot Henderson.
Yes, and I've been doing some research, I guess, on Scoot. All you need to do to realize why the Pelicans and any team is infatuated with him, go watch the highlights when they played the Metropolitans. That's the team that Victor Wembanyama played on. He outdid him, scored 28 points that game. His team won the game.
Yeah.
And the Ringer also has a really nice free article kind of telling his story, little feature piece. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders, and he's a really good player. So I definitely see why the Pelicans are interested. And yes, if they make a trade, Scoot Henderson will be the focal point of that trade.
All right, go to RejuveMeMedical.com, RejuveMeMedical.com. Get that consultation set up. Find that list of conditions that they can treat for you. Like, look, if you're in Omaha for like a week and you're sleeping in a little bit later than you normally would, maybe the energy's a little bit down. Well, they can help you out over at RejuveMeMedical.com. 225-725-1610 is that phone number. As I mentioned, we've got Chef coming up. Mario's going to break down the NBA draft. And I told the fellas, like, my oldest son is trying to get in here to get some takes off. Do y'all remember Ask Memphis? Mario, you were here when we had Memphis in, right?
That was fun.
Yeah, he's like, how are you going to have the youngest one in here and not have your oldest son here in studio? So he's trying to come up here. It's summertime. We've got a lot of fun planned in hour number 3. Stick around with us. As I mentioned, Chef Michael Johnson. When we come back from this break, go ahead, get those munchie questions in the Bayou Ford chat. We'll be back. Hour number 3 of OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Sealing air leaks around windows and doors is a good start. Smart thermostats and improved insulation are great ways to make a bigger difference. And remember, ceiling fans only make you feel cooler, so don't use them when you aren't in the room. Visit demco.org to get Power Smart today.
Insurance companies often discourage people from getting an attorney. If I can't get you more, even after our fee, then you owe us nothing, not even our costs. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12670. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning, everybody. It is 9 a.m. on Thursday, June 22nd. Today in Baton Rouge, expect cloudy skies with a high of 95. Coming up on OTB OT, Chef Michael Johnson joins the show up next for a new edition of Munchies. You can follow today's show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OTB_ESPN, or catch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel and subscribe for daily content. OTB OT, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Abar.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
All right, welcome back in hour number 3 of OTB. It is Thursday, so you know what that means. Our guy, Chef Michael Johnson, joins us now for some munchies. Chef, what's going on? How you doing this morning?
Morning, Jake. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, Tigers keep on winning. I think we'll all do fantastic here in Baton Rouge,
God.
Chef.
That's exciting, brother. I wish, I watched that game last night. I just, every inning that passed, more and more I wish I was in Omaha with them, man. That's an exciting place to be this time of year.
It is. Like, I need to go when LSU is on the run, because, like, going for, like, one game or maybe even 2 games, like, that's an experience. But I think it would be kind of cool, like, certainly you, if you're, like, in a working capacity with the team there, to go, like, for the full 10-day run or however long it ends up being.
Oh, man. You know, when I was in Kansas City, I worked for the Kansas City T-Bones, but a buddy of mine ran. He was the food and beverage guy at Rosenblatt, and so they were so busy that their chef couldn't break away, so they had me come up there and do TV spots for them in exchange for free tickets. And so I got to go up there in 08 or 09 when we won the championship, and I got to watch LSU play in one of the championship games and then one of the elimination round games.
Yeah, man, it's just such a cool, and it's experience. You can get it in Oklahoma City with the Women's College World Series, the Men's College World Series in Omaha. Just great tournaments that we have in college athletics. All right, hashtag Munchies, favorite New Orleans restaurants.
Gosh, that's a good one. I mean, Commander's is one of my favorites, just because when Tori was there, Tori and I had a relationship when I taught at the culinary school.
Yeah.
And Steve Woodruff was, this was after the hurricane. He would come in and they were helping draft chefs to get them back into the restaurants. And I built a relationship with them, and, I would go in and they would just take care of me. Like I got the window seat, and they, just had one of the most incredible experiences in a restaurant. And I think, it's probably a cheat to say, but Commander's has always been one of my favorite places to go.
Is there a hole? I mean, I agree with you, by the way, but is there a hole in the wall place? Maybe, it's hard. It's hard. New Orleans is a hard city to say like a hole in the wall place, Chef, because I feel like every hole in the wall is popular in New Orleans.
I mean, it's full of them, right? You kind of have to go out of your way to find a crappy hole in the wall restaurant in New Orleans. I mean, Red Dog Cafe is one of my favorite places to go. That it's not super well known, but you can go in there and get a great meal and a fantastic Bloody Mary for an affordable price and get good food.
Hashtag Munchies, best onions to use for homemade onion rings.
Great colossal white onions are fantastic for it. Now, if you want to get fancy with it, you can go smaller with like a I call them Walla Walla because I'm used to being in Washington, but the sweet onions, right? Georgia, I forget what they call them in Georgia sweets, but I do like the flavor of a sweet onion, but they're smaller, and I kind of like the colossal size onion ring. So just a colossal white is what I use.
Hashtag Munchies. What's Chef's favorite style of pizza? Chicago deep dish, New York, Detroit style, etc.
Gosh, I never met a pizza I didn't like. First of all, I like Sicilian style. Like I like the crust flat and a little burnt on the bottom. Like a lot of people don't like that charred, but I like the Sicilian style, which I think the New York is probably the closest to it.
Yep.
But it's a really flat crust, burnt and a little charred on the bottom. Goes onto the direct onto the hearth, and it's got a raw sauce on it. You don't cook the sauce; the sauce cooks on the crust, and it's not like doused with cheese. There's like you pull bits of mozzarella and it has like melted spots of mozzarella within the pizza sauce and the toppings. That's how I like my pizza.
Now I need some pizza. I shouldn't have asked that question. As bad hosting by me. Hashtag Munchies. Can you give us your best red beans and rice recipe?
First and foremost, I think that I don't ever use canned red beans. I like to soak my red beans and soak them overnight. And I'll even like put the water in hot so that it starts to soak a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just cold. The cold water takes a little bit more time to penetrate through, I think. And I like to put tasso or some kind of salt cured ham in and saute that in with them, or even a ham hock, and let it cook in there. Fresh minced garlic from the clove instead of out of a jar. I like to make sure that the things that are going in are whole when they start and get processed down, so that it's not. I don't like using processed foods too much, if that makes sense. And and then some people won't, but I use chicken stock or a super flavorful stock instead of just water, right?
Hashtag Munchies. Why do people say Japanese Wagyu or Wagyu beef when Wagyu means Japanese beef?
So Wagyu is actually, back in the day it meant something because it came from Japan, and there's like 2 or 3 breeds of cattle that meet that standard when it comes from Japan. Now that kind of refers to a process, I think. It's been kind of Americanized. But back in the day when Wagyu was Wagyu, it came from a particular part of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very particular one of 3 breeds of cattle. And it meant that it was also grown and processed in a very particular way. Like they were fed beer to fatten them up, and they were massaged with sake to calm them down. Like they got sake massages, and like they were treated exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And because they were fed such a fatty diet, like that promotes that marbling, and the fat on it's kind of sweet. From real true Wagyu from Japan, the fat tends to come out sweet. Yeah.
Hashtag Munchies. What is the best steak marinade? Do you make your own, or do you buy it in the store?
So I don't marinate my steak ever, and I used to back in the day, and I just kind of got away from it. I know people that my brother loves to use like Italian dressing. The thing you need to know about a marinade though is if you're using oil, you can soak it in there for longer. If you're putting any kind of acid, lemon juice, vinegar, anything like that, like you can't leave your steak in there for very long.
Yeah.
Like a very short amount of time, because that vinegar and acid will start to cook the steak, and it'll make it mealy and chewy, or not chewy, but like soft, and it'll chew it up. Especially if you leave it in there overnight, you can come back and that steak will be like pudding. Pudding if you leave it in there for too long. So, I've gotten to the place in my life where I like to taste the flavor of what it is I'm eating. I'm a kind of a purist in that way now. Like I went through that process, progression of wanting to marinate steaks and create something new that was cool, and I just kind of moved through it, because now when I taste a piece of beef, I want it to be of good quality, and and if it's of good quality, you can appreciate it through just the flavor of the beef or the fish or whatever it is itself. Yeah.
All right. I might have to take some advice there and try out that technique, because I think I am the pudding that you're talking about. Hashtag Munchies. What's on your ballpark hot dog?
Everything. I like it to look like a Chicago dog, like it's got a dang salad on top of it, man. I like the sport peppers. I like, I like everything on it. You can pile, and plus it's a hot dog, so it kind of needs it. So, yeah, enough time in the ballpark, man, and you get to the place where a hot dog is just a hot dog, and you want it to be, all that stuff on it.
I like this one. Hashtag Munchies. I'm at work right now with 2 raw eggs. Is there a way to boil these in the microwave without them exploding?
Not very easily, no. I've never actually boiled them before, but I have poached them before. So you can crack the eggs and put them in a little bowl with some water in it and microwave it. Put something like a loose napkin over the top of it, or a wet napkin over the top of it, so it kind of steams from the top. And you can actually poach an egg in a microwave like that if you're doing it small amounts of time. You can do it for 15 or 20 seconds, and microwaves are all different, right? Like if you have a 2800 watt microwave, 15 seconds means it might cook in 15 seconds. So you have to understand the microwave and how much power it has. But you can poach one in a microwave if you have a little bowl with some water, and you can put some water in with the egg, and as the water heats, it will cook the egg.
Chef, I try to avoid the microwave, and I know it's convenient, I know it's easy, I know it's fast. Like I try, and if you're at work and that's all you have, it's all you have. But I try to avoid it like at all costs. Like I will take my time on something in the oven or whatever. Yeah, like I'm going to take, and that's on anything. And now like there's really no excuse. Like these air fryer toaster ovens that they have.
Yeah.
Like there's no excuse not to just spend a couple of minutes on it, because that microwave, I don't know that anything is better. Like. Out of a microwave, you need it for popcorn and maybe some other things, but Chef, I don't know of anything that's better out of the microwave than the oven.
Jake, I've said this before. I don't own a microwave. I don't have one in my house, and my kids hate it because they're the quick and easy kind of kids. You know what I mean? Like they want everything right now. I'm hungry right now, Dad.
Yeah.
But I don't own one, and that's why. I don't see any quality in it whatsoever. It is quick and easy, but I'm just kind of I'm not a quick and easy guy. I'm a methodical, do it the right way, and if taking your time and getting it done the right way isn't what they want, then they can go get it somewhere else, and it's kind of take it or leave it, and it's gotten me to where I am. There's definitely quick and easy microwave people out there who are flourishing, and that's good on them. That's just not who I am.
Let's see. I had there is hashtag Munchies, best restaurant to bring someone who has never had Louisiana cuisine. I guess in Baton Rouge, maybe.
Gosh, I don't know. I like Elsie's Pie downtown, but it's not really Louisiana cuisine. It's just really damn good food. So
I think you can get Louisiana things though. Maybe not the full menu like the question asked, but if you got one great Louisiana thing, you got to show it off.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of places around, and I don't like to name the restaurants too much because I don't want to shoot favoritism one way or the other, or anything like that, and get people hacked off. But I am known to frequent Elsie's every once in a while because I do like that kind of style of food.
Let's see. Hashtag Munchies. Thoughts on overnight oats?
I love them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I love them. I had a thing of overnight oats not too long ago for the first time with like blueberries, and we were trying different flavors with peaches actually in them, and peach was fantastic. And actually it had a little protein powder in it as well. And man, it's a meal replacement, almost.
Yeah.
You eat some overnight oats in the morning, and it gives you energy, and it gives your stomach, it takes away that hunger pang that you wake up with, after you drink your first cup of coffee, and man, it just gives you the energy to get through to the mid meal day, right?
Yep.
Or the midday meal, and I know a lot of people who have had success in losing weight by starting off with this 8-ounce overnight oat in the morning, and it, like instead of eating fatty breakfast sausages and bacon and whatnot, and it gave them the energy to make through to the next meal, and you are reducing calories and still putting good stuff into your body.
Hey, last one, kind of the same question. Hashtag Munchies. Can you meal prep overnight oats for the week, or will it ruin the fruit you put it in?
So we kind of puree our fruit when we put it in there,
Okay.
and kind of to a chunky style.
Right.
Buy your fruit fresh if it's not looking fresh when it goes into it. It's not going to tolerate sitting there for a whole lot amount of time. But as long as it's refrigerated, you should be able to get a few days out of it. Yeah.
All right, there he is, Chef Michael Johnson, good enough to join us for Munchies every single Thursday. Chef, before we let you go, how are you taking in the game tonight?
Well, I'm probably watching at home. Usually, I'm screaming and yelling. They don't care for the screaming and yelling at the nutrition center. So I try to. I watch a lot of sports in the comfort of my own home. So the neighbors at least are the only people who have to tolerate me.
That's right. You and I are in the same way in that aspect. There's no question about it. Chef, we appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
All right, we are going to take a break. As I mentioned throughout the show, we do have an NBA draft to talk about. We're going to throw it to Mario, our NBA specialist.
Oh, yeah, we can go with
Our
that.
specialist, NBA specialist Mario Jerez here on OTB when we hop back.
OTB, OT.
All right, go to All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com, All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. Go check out what they have to offer, which is, well, everything's available over there at All-Star. And if you are leasing a vehicle, go check it out, because that's what we're doing right now. But the family's getting bigger. It's getting bigger by the day, hopefully here any day soon. So we need something different, but they have options for us. Like currently right now, the Highlander is big enough for the family. Soon it will not be, but it's okay because they have multiple options for us. Sequoia, they've got the Sienna minivan, right? We can both fit in that. So we are not limited to, hey, you can only have this one. And again, like I tell you every single day, like everything's available in leasing and renting. So it's not just, hey, you have these 4 options to choose from. And that's one of the great things they offer over at All-Star Toyota. And speaking of rentals, like, hey, maybe you're getting a wild hair and flights are expensive to Omaha. Trust me, just look them up. We just found that out. Maybe you need to drive, go rent that Toyota to drive to Omaha today. All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We're recapping LSU Wake Forest from the College World Series. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. Murder on the beat. Something for y'all to cut up to, you know? Yeah. Everybody get your roll on. I know shorty and she doesn't want no slow song. Had a man last year, life goes on. Haven't let the thing loose, girl, in so long. You been inside, know you like to lay low. I've been peeping what you bring
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
All right, welcome back in. Now we know there's an NBA draft tonight. We also know that you're probably not going to be watching the NBA draft, and that's not to hate on the NBA draft and the Pelicans, but LSU is playing an elimination game. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that contest. Now, some of you will be watching the NBA draft, and you're going to care what the Pelicans do. I mean, we certainly here at OTB, Team Pelicans, we're going to be paying attention to it. Maybe eye hustling from the side, the NBA draft. Now, certainly if the Pelicans end up making a move, moving up, and there is a splash, we're all going to be paying attention to that. But our guy, Mario Jerez, has it covered. So, Mario, a couple different scenarios that could play out. If they make the trade up, we know who they are targeting. It is Scoot Henderson. That is the player that the Pelicans have kind of fallen in love with. And so they move up. That's going to be the move. It's what did they give up to move up is going to be the question. But let's start with what if they stay where they're at?
If they stay where they're at, you're probably looking at drafting another shooter or a rim protector. Those are the two kind of weaknesses that the team has addressed this offseason. We all know the Pelicans had trouble shooting threes last year. They finished 23rd in the NBA in three-pointers made and dead last in opponents' field goal percentage at the rim. So they also want to improve their rim protection. There's a chance maybe Jonas Valanciunas gets traded this offseason. I don't know if tonight, but it seems like the Pelicans want a center that's a little bit more versatile on defense. So there's a lot of routes you can go. If you want a shooter, depending who's on the board, you can go with Grady Dick out of Kansas. Me and Taylor have been talking a lot about him. Y'all remember Jordan Hawkins from UConn?
That's where I got him pulled up right here. Like, he might be one of the best shooters in this draft, and I know he's a 2, and that might not be the position you're looking at. But if you're looking for shooting, that would be a spot. Because he's about, correct me if I'm wrong, he's about in the range where the Pelicans are picking there at 14.
Yeah, I think he's the 15th prospect, and I think they're picking 14. But look, you mentioned he's a 2 guard. He handled the ball a lot for UConn last year. I mean, he was kind of their ball dominant guard, their number 1, if you will, on a team that won the national title. I mean, he could play the 1 or the 2 at 6'4". I mean, he's a versatile guy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like Grady Dick, Mario, is going to be there at 14.
Yeah, that's if he drops. I mean, some people are a little bit worried about his size. He's like over
he's 6'7".
Yeah, but like he's at like 201 pounds. I think they want him to bulk up a little bit, but if he's there, he might be an option. Hawkins is a little bit more raw. 38% on his threes, and his ball handling and everything else can kind of come into its own as time goes on. If the Pelicans draft him, he's just going to be a floor spacer, shoot the ball. Somebody other than C.J. McCollum and Trey Murphy needs to make threes next season.
All right, who would the rim protector be? When you look at this, I mean, would that be maybe you get a rim protector, let's say in the latter portion, maybe in the second round, like Colin Castleton, somebody like that? Like, you talking about like waiting that long? Yeah, you'd have to root for that guy. I know you would hate that.
Yeah, I straight up do not like that guy. He just destroyed LSU, and he was just langly, and I didn't like watching him play basketball.
Yes.
But down the road, that's definitely an option in the second round, or if they trade down. But if they do want to swing for the fences a little bit in the first round for a rim protector, I've seen Derek Lively from Duke mocked at 14 in some places. He may or may not be there. 2.4 blocks per game, which is really good. He had an 8-block game against North Carolina in a rivalry game. Somewhat raw, but again, maybe what the Pelicans are looking for there. And if he's not there, I've seen a lot of people talking about Taylor Hendricks from UCF. Somewhat of a raw player too offensively, but really good rim protector. So if they want to go that direction, maybe they'll look at one of those two guys. But there's a lot of scenarios here. I honestly think the most likely one is they trade down, either for a later draft pick or a future draft pick, because they already have a lot of young players on rookie contracts Like, if all goes to plan, Dyson Daniels is going to get more minutes next year. And E.J. Liddell from Ohio State, the second-round pick last year, he basically redshirted last season. Like, this is basically going to be his rookie season. So if I had to guess, I would think that would be the most likely scenario.
Yeah, I mean, they have so many young players. They also have so many draft choices. And, like, eventually – and they've moved some of those draft picks to obviously bring in players. But at some point you feel like, okay – you got to start moving some of these pieces if you truly think you're a contender right now. So if they move back and picked up more picks, I mean, I don't know that I'd be a fan of that.
No, maybe like future drafts, add to the treasure chest that you have of draft picks. Never a bad thing. But the roster, we'll see, man. If they don't make that big trade, it's not going to shake up that much. But obviously, Ingram, Zion, if they're going to go get Scoot, they have to give up one of those guys.
When you look at it, that's the only way that I can see it. Even with the picks that you have, there's not going to be anything that's going to convince, I think, those teams at 2 and 3 to move on from him unless you gave them one of those star players. It's going to be interesting to see, like, if Taylor Hendricks is a guy that they value because they need rim protection. He's projected to go top 10. So, like, if you sit there, you're at, let's say, 8 or 9, or maybe even you're at 10 and he has not gone yet. Can you see the Pelicans being aggressive and moving up? Not, giving up a treasure chest to move up to 2 or 3, but maybe giving up one of those future picks they have to move up 4 spots.
Yeah, it's possible. That would directly address one of the needs that, they've been talking about. So I could see something like that. There are a lot of scenarios. That's honestly what makes it kind of exciting. On the surface, this is literally the worst draft pick you can have, like very last in the lottery. You weren't good enough to make the playoffs, but you weren't bad enough to, get a better lottery pick. So. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Whole lot of scenarios.
I actually think what you just mentioned is probably the best scenario for the Pelicans. Because look, think about the guys we just talked about. They don't have to swing for the fences, but Grady Dick could be there 4 picks before. Taylor Hendricks could be there. People aren't talking about him, but Anthony Black from Arkansas, a 6'6" point guard. Right now, he's number 8 on the big board right now for CBS. You move up 3 to 4 spots from 14 to 9. I mean, Anthony Black's a guy you need a ball dominant point guard. He's 6'6". He can drive the lane. He can shoot a little bit. I mean, I like that scenario the best for the Pelicans personally.
And for what it's worth, I really do like Scoot. Like, I don't know if the Pelicans are going to make a move. Like I said, probably unlikely, but I think he's going to be a great player wherever he goes. I really encourage anybody who's interested to go read that Ringer article. It's an interesting story. He actually finished high school early, didn't even do his senior year of high school, played professional basketball, going to enter the NBA at 18, but has already done some really impressive things.
All right, let's go around the room. Final answer, the New Orleans Pelicans draft.
I think they draft nobody. I think they trade for future picks.
All right, Taylor?
Just because I want them to draft this guy, I'm going Jordan Hawkins.
I'm going Jordan Hawkins as well.
Wouldn't be a bad pick.
Yeah, it's a guy that I think, a guy that has led his team, a guy that can shoot the basketball, a guy that does have some size to him as well. I think, and you're right, Taylor. He is 6'5", plays a 2, but he certainly was a point guard as well there for UConn. Brought the ball up the court a ton, certainly there in the postseason in the NCAA tournament. So that will be going on tonight as well. A lot going on here in the state of Louisiana involving our teams, LSU baseball and the Pelicans there in the NBA draft. All right.
Also, Jordan Hawkins is Angel Reese's cousin, for those who don't know.
Hand up.
Perfect. Sign him up now.
Hand up.
Yeah.
Hand up. I think I might have heard that, but if I did, I forgot.
Yes.
So hand up.
Yes, they were all giving each other shout-outs during their respective national title runs.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Just draft Jordan Hawkins from UConn. That feels like that'd be a good pick for the Pelicans if you do stay at 14 there. All right, we will take a break. A couple more segments here on OTB to wrap it up on a Thursday.
OTB, OT.
All right, go to getgordon.com. Getgordon.com is the website because it is 9:28. So you're probably already at your desk right now. Maybe you can't get to the phones, but if you go to that website, one, you can have a chat right there with a live agent on the site. They can answer a question for you. Also, you can check out a list of cases that they can handle for you. You can also see past client results right there on the website. So it is a great tool to find all that information about Gordon McKernan injury attorneys. Now, if you want to pick up the phone, if you want to have that conversation with them, you certainly can do so. And if you are in the state of Louisiana, no matter where you're at, you know the area code. So area code followed by the 8s, 888-8888. Call them today. Have that conversation with them on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, @GetGordon is that handle there. So much information out there. You can also see what they're doing in the community as well. GetGordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Jimmy Ott and Charles Andegriff live at lunch. It's live from Omaha at the Ameristar Sportsbook, brought to you by Supreme Rice. Thursday edition of Live at Lunch from Omaha, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
All right, welcome back in, OTB. My man Nook back in the chat. Good to see him back in the chat. And he's asking what the hashtag is going to be for questions, because if you'll remember, it's probably, gosh, it might have been like a year and a half ago. My youngest son, Memphis, he came in here. I forget what the situation was, but he had to come in here for like the final hour of the show. And he was sitting over there and he was, just hanging out. And he finally, he came and sat with me. He's like, I want to get here on the show. And he sat down, and I think he was, he's probably like 5 years old.
Yeah, he was like 4 or 5, yeah.
At the time. And we had a segment, Ask Memphis, and that's when he said the Jets quarterback was trash, and that was Zach Wilson. That turned out to be factual. And so my oldest son, who's in studio with us now, he'll hop on here to finish out the show in the next segment. He's going to have to answer some questions as well. And you can hashtag it however you want. Ask Jackson is his name, because he has some of the most hot NFL takes when it comes to which player are the other, certainly when it comes to quarterbacks. And it's really a discussion.
I feel like I'm going to agree with him on the majority of them, honestly.
It's a discussion, Taylor, we have at the dinner table every single night. We bring up quarterbacks, and you ask which one or the other, and he usually picks the one that I do not pick, and then he tries to throw some, air quotes, facts out there to support that. So we'll have that at the end of the show. But I do want to talk about, we had Wilson Alexander on, and obviously it was a baseball hit. He's there in Omaha, but at the end of it, we were talking about media days and kind of what's going to be kind of the main question, maybe the main theme for LSU football, because every time you go, certainly in a program like LSU to media days, there's always something. There's always something that, it's kind of the theme of the media days, and you ask every LSU person that comes there with LSU, every LSU guest that comes on, kind of the same question, but I don't know what that's going to be. But he mentioned Jaden Daniels was probably going to be there, and he should. So I don't really care what the question is. I want to see alpha energy from LSU when they show up. And Brian Kelly has that. When you see out in the media, like people talking about the schedule and that's not fair and we don't want to play them, Brian Kelly the entire time wants to play the best. Like, that's why he's at LSU. He said it from the first day that he got here. I just saw Brian Kelly and Destin at the SEC spring meetings. He had that energy to him. Like, he doesn't really care how the schedule's formatted. He doesn't really care who's on the schedule. It's like, I'm at LSU. Like, I expect it to be very difficult. We're going to go out there and play those games when other coaches are out there complaining. And this on and off the record. He doesn't have that. He has that energy like, hey, we might as well take all the smoke, right? Because we're LSU. We know who we are. I want to see that from LSU in media days. I want to see them go to Nashville. I want to see Jaden Daniels be out in front, being the team leader, being the quarterback. And I want to see them answer the questions, maybe, hey, you might be the favorite here from the media. Is that going to, maybe upset Alabama, bulletin board material? And I want to see them say, I don't really care about Alabama. I care about LSU because I know how good we are. I know how good we can be. We won the West last year. Alabama didn't win the West. Yeah, we got to go to Tuscaloosa, but I don't really care about that. And it doesn't have to be in a cocky way. It doesn't have to be arrogant. But I want to see it be alpha, right? Kind of I'm growing, you're not type mentality. That's what I want to see from LSU at media days. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to. Because, like, when you have what has been a standard for Alabama, you have to remember, under Alabama, LSU's won the second most national titles in the last 2 decades. Like, you might not be that as far as titles, but you've been damn good. And you set your own standard. And you set a different standard last year when you beat Alabama. You go to the game. Now, it didn't work out your way. You lost to Georgia. You had moments in that game. Build off those moments, but build off that energy. Go to Nashville. Know from the second that you get there, LSU's ready. And LSU's not going to shy away from, oh, man, they're going to be able to put that up in the locker room. LSU was picked to finish first in the West and not Alabama. You should. You won it last year. You're going to be better this year. You got year 2, Jaden Daniels. Year 2 for the entire coaching staff. What you've done in the transfer portal. You have your entire offensive line basically coming back. You have every running back coming back. You also added running backs from Notre Dame, their leading rusher. You have the receivers coming back. You might have the best receiving core in the country, right? It's Ohio State and then probably you, but you're in that conversation. You know what you got coming back defensively. You've got Mason Smith coming back from injury. Walk into that building with your chest out, knowing that, hey, we won the West and we're here to do it again. This is the new standard for LSU football. There's been a standard set before us, but we're setting a new standard. That's what I want to see in Nashville. And fellas, I don't know if they get that. This team tells me that they're going to show that, but that's what I want to see from them in Nashville.
I'm with that, and I'm with what you said about Brian Kelly. Like, some of the stuff that's been coming out of Nick Saban's mouth is really, really surprising to me, given that, he's Nick Saban. But I love the mentality of Brian Kelly, and hopefully that's reflected among the players at media day.
No, I'm with you because, look, you mentioned Jaden Daniels, and a lot of people, were like, oh, he'd have a good game, bad game. He's going to improve this year, obviously, but go look at not just the West, the SEC as a whole. Like, LSU probably has the best quarterback situation with the combination of Daniels and Nussmeier behind him in the entire conference. I mean, I don't know how this team's not going to show up with a ton of confidence, not going to show up like we're the team to beat, because they really are the team to beat. I mean, nobody else in the West, quarterback-wise, even comes close, at least not at an experience.
No, and I am with you. And that's not to say it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Hell, it's going to be hard from the first game. Bad word, Jackson. Don't say that. It's going to be hard from the very first game. You got Florida State. They're a real contender. They beat you last year. Now, the game was quirky, and we know how it ended, but they got everybody coming back. They've done well in the transfer portal. They've got Jordan Travis, who's a really good quarterback in that game. But you have all offseason to get ready for that game, to use that game as motivation. Now, I haven't been around the team as much as I used to, but I've been around, and I get that sense that that's the kind of energy that they have, right? You've got the quarterback, to Taylor's point. Who are you going to go with? You're going to go with Jaden Daniels or Tyler Buckner? You're going to go with Jaden Daniels. Even Ole Miss, who has three, good quarterbacks. You're going to go with Jackson Dart. You're going to go with Jaden Daniels. You're going to go with Jaden Daniels, right? So some of these matchups that we look at, certainly in the West, you're going to favor LSU in those moments. And you have to expect Jaden Daniels to take that step. Like, he was really good at times last year. I mean, there was a 3-week stretch where he might have been the best quarterback in the country during that stretch. Ole Miss and Florida and Alabama, right? If you get rid of the Jaden Daniels and Texas A&M and Arkansas, and you're just a good quarterback, you don't even have to be that quarterback you were during that 3-week stretch. You're talking about a completely different team, right? There's no Kayshawn on this team either, which I think is good. And that's not throwing a shot at Kayshawn. That is just, there's not going to be, hey, we got to get this guy involved. We got to get him in the ball. You're going to get the ball to the guy who's open. You're going to get the ball to who needs to get the ball because you read the coverage, and that's the player that is open. I think that's going to be good for the growth of Jaden Daniels, right? Last year, and I get it, like, you had this All-American player. He's coming back from injury, and you're trying to get him involved. I get it. You don't have that situation this year, and you've got really good receivers and neighbors, and we know the list, right? You have Brian Thomas, and we've seen what they've done in the spring game. Kyron Lacey. Like, you've got Jimmys and Joes, right? So that's what I want to see. I want to see LSU from the get-go, from SEC Media Days, which is kind of the beginning of the football season, to walk into that building, know exactly who they are, let everyone know that they fully expect to be there in the end, because that is the type of energy that you can use in the offseason when you're getting ready for that first game against Florida State. I don't want to hear, well, there's some really good teams. We hope we can do this. No, you can do this. Your head coach has that energy. I think the players being around them have that energy. Now I want to show the rest of the people covering the SEC that you have that energy there in Nashville, and we'll see if they can get that done. Before we take this last break, PatientPlusUC.com is the website to go to. I told you my oldest son is in here. He has probably been to Patient Plus with us before, right? When you got to get stitches, when things happen in an inconvenient time. He's probably the person that made the person get stitches, but they are there for you. There's going to be a location in the Baton Rouge area that is very convenient for you. That's why we always tell you, yeah, you can book that appointment online before you go, but walk-ins are certainly always welcome over at Patient Plus. All right, when we come back, because he's been begging, he didn't like the fact that I gave our youngest, Memphis, his time to shine. We're going to put him up on the stage. We're going to make him answer some of the tough questions, give you some of his questionable NFL takes when we come back here to close out a Thursday, almost said afternoon, that's off campus later, morning edition of OTB.
OTB, OT.
All right, pick up the phone, call Thomas Email today for all of your insurance needs. And Riverlands Insurance has been doing this for a very, very long time, and we've been telling you about them for a long time, and now's a great time to pick up the phone and call. We've had people with a lot of success to listen to the show that call right after the live, and they have saved a lot of money, and Thomas can do that for you. Or look, if he can, he's going to tell you. He's going to have that conversation with you. He's going to put you in the best possible situation with all of your insurance needs. 225-206-1517, and that is anywhere in the state of Louisiana. Lake Chuck, Lafayette, Shreveport, Ruston, Rayville, DeRidder, it doesn't matter. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, anywhere in the state of Louisiana, Thomas can help you today. So go ahead, again, make the call whenever it's convenient for you, because it's always going to be convenient for him. I've been with him. I've been in certain situations. If you call, he answers, and you're going to have that conversation. 225-206-1517.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
Join me for a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll chat with Joe Healy from up in Omaha. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
All right, welcome back into OTB Ask the Bench, which is turned into Ask Jackson, brought to you by Cold Cruise Light, Vizzy Hard Seltzer, Blue Moon, Light Sky Citrus Sweet, and you can have none of that, sir, for another 8 years. Joining me on the show is my oldest son, as I mentioned, Jackson Troy Hester, who is 13 years old, and the only thing he talks about these days is being taller than Dad.
Yeah.
Is that the most important thing in your life right now?
I mean, I feel like I can stop growing now. I don't have to worry about it because I already passed you, so there's no more goals.
What happens, though, when you start talking back, though?
We don't need to talk about that. It's fine. I'm taller than you.
Okay, yeah, you're taller than me, but low man always wins. Remember that, Jackson. Ask Jackson, is Aaron Rodgers going to succeed in New York?
Well, it's hard to say because past 2 years we've seen Brady go to a new team and do really good, but we've also seen people like Russell Wilson go to a new team and not do so good. So you can't really know before you see him play yet when he's going to a completely new system when he's been somewhere for so long. I think personally they'll do pretty good. I don't know if I'd say they're like AFC Championship contender level, but I think that they could be a good divisional round. I don't think they'll make it to the Chiefs-Bills level, but I think they could be a good playoff team, win a couple games. All right.
Hey, I actually thought that was pretty good. We have guests in here that, typically like to whisper into the microphone. Ask Jackson, do you believe your brothers really wanted a sister?
I don't know because, they get really annoyed with all of us, so I thought maybe they might want one.
Did you want a little sister?
Yeah. I was tired of the brothers. They're a little annoying.
Ask Jackson, how old is planet Earth? This is probably coming after me a little bit.
I don't really know. Pretty old.
Ask Jackson, favorite current LSU head coach?
Brian Kelly, if he wins this national championship.
Favorite LSU baseball player?
I'll be Paul Skenes.
Okay, yeah, Jackson's not the biggest baseball fan, although he's watched every game here in the postseason.
I was thinking about that one.
Ask Jackson, what is your dad's worst take? This is what we argue about very often.
I don't know. He has a lot of bad ones, kind of think.
What about yesterday? I think that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 NFL quarterback.
Jalen Hurts has had one good year, and you're already putting him with people who've had 2 to 3 elite years when he had the best offense in the league. So I think it's a little bit too soon to say he's top 5.
Man, I know Taylor's pumping his fist in support over here.
Taylor's a Cowboys fan, Jackson. Yeah, we say the same thing. Ask Jackson, could you get us the half yard we needed against Florida on 4th down? Game is on the line.
Absolutely. I feel like we make a little bit too – I don't think it was that hard. I think we make a little bit too much noise about it. It wasn't that good.
Ask Jackson, if you could play any sport instead of football, what would you play?
Probably basketball. It's because I'm tall.
Okay, we get it. We get it, kid. Ask Jackson, does your dad replay his national championship video every month to remind you how great he was?
No, but I feel like he might start having to do that because I'm taller than him now. So, make sure I know.
Okay. Ask Jackson, how long till you can dominate dad in FIFA?
I don't really play FIFA that much. I probably play more Madden. But, if I try to play a lot more, I feel like I could get better than him.
Oh, this one's he's going to ask Jackson, how tired of you of hearing back in my day stories from dad?
It's like, I get it, man. You played football. But I don't need to know everything that happened.
I think the one that you hate the most is what I tell you what I had to do to get ready to play football as far as all-season training.
Yeah. That's not great.
Is your all-season training great?
I'm playing a lot of Madden. I feel like I'm a lot smarter about the game.
Okay, yeah, that tells you everything you need to know. Ask Jackson, is your dad cool?
I guess. He likes to think so.
Ask Jackson, after your dad, who is your favorite LSU athlete of all time?
Probably Joe Burrow, just because he won us the national championship.
Really dug deep for that answer.
Yeah.
Ask Jackson, who hits a better gritty, you or one of your brothers?
Not me, I'm going to be honest. It's a little uncoordinated. Probably Memphis. I feel like he busted out a lot.
Ask Jackson, how do you feel about you and your brothers being named after cities?
I think it's pretty cool. I think mine's a little basic, I'm going to be honest, but I think it's good.
Ask Jackson, are you a Riz god?
No. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. It's not great right now, I'm going to be honest.
Okay. This is more of a statement. Ain't no way Jacob's kid's in high school already. He's not in high school.
I'm 13 years old.
He's 13. He's going into the 8th grade. Let's see. Ask Jackson, give us your top 5 NFL quarterbacks quickly.
Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Burrow. Number 3, Justin Herbert. Number 4, Josh Allen. Number 5, Lamar Jackson.
Wait. Slow. I said quickly, but my God, say that again.
Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Burrow. Number 3, Justin Herbert. Number 4, Josh Allen. And then 5, Lamar Jackson.
Okay. Do you overvalue Justin Herbert because of your love for the Chargers?
I think I just watch more of him than anyone else, so I just know more about him.
Jacob, and this is not me, says, Jackson, the hair does not count in your height. I tell him that all the time.
It does. It's part of me, so why does it not count as my height?
It does not count because, Show Bob from The Simpsons could have been like 6'7" with his hair.
Yeah, but it's part of you, so why do you not count it towards height?
Just because mine's not growing anymore doesn't mean that you get to count yours.
All right, that's not my fault.
Let's see. Ask Jackson, what's the most embarrassing thing your dad has done around you?
I can't really think of an embarrassing thing you've done. No, I don't really think. Can't really think of anything if you've done embarrassing. Not really.
Ask Jackson, do you know about Joseph Adai and the fact that he played the same position as your dad? You better know about Joseph Adai, or I've done a bad job of fathering.
I'm not. What?
Joe Adai, Colts running back, LSU running back.
Oh, yeah.
God, you're so young.
I'm so disappointed.
I'm so disappointed right now. Ask Jackson, 225 or 318?
225. Sure.
Yeah, I guess you're not from. You're from the 619.
Mm-hmm.
That's your area code. Let's see. Ask Jackson, is Joey Hester a big softie?
Yeah, he's a kind soul. I think that's the only way to describe him.
Ask Jackson, what do you think about the Marcus Smart trade?
I don't know why you trade Marcus Smart. I don't really find a reason, but I mean, it's a fine trade.
All right. Nice job. I'm very disappointed in myself that we don't know about Joseph Adai. Hottest NFL take that you have. We got 10 seconds left.
Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow both could be Hall of Famers. Both multiple MVPs.
OTB, OT.